Hello, welcome to another Watch Along live on the Sports Corner YouTube channel. I hope you're doing all well. Welcome back to the channel. We are once again here for another international watch along as we get into the last set of fixtures for the UEFA Nations League before we are back to competitive league football. I hope you're all doing good. Welcome along to the stream. And as you might have seen in the title, it's a little bit of a different one today because we've actually got two games to cover in the stream today. We've got the big game between Croatia and France, which is taking place at 7:45, and then we've also got the game between England and Denmark, of course, which is quite an important one to cover. So we're going to be covering that game as well. And of course, once again, for today's watch along, it's just me on my own. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one goes because, of course, we've got two games that we are covering in today's edition of the Watchalongs. If you are new as always, whether you're watching this live or on a replay, do leave a like and a subscription as always. It is very, very greatly appreciated indeed. And as I said before, kick-off for these games is in just around 10 minutes time. So do get yourself ready and raring to go because it's going to be interesting to see how these fixtures do go indeed. Of course, the last set of Nations League fixtures before we're back to proper competitive club football again, which I think there's a lot of fans who can't wait to just get back into their Premier League, Liga and the League seasons. Chris is in the chat, get in there, got there in the end. Hi, anyway, how are you doing? All good, thank you very much. I was just trying to sort a few things out at the last second there, which is why I was still on mute, but yeah, really, really good, thank you, and I hope you're all good as well. So as I said, we've got two games to cover tonight on the stream. And you can see on the bottom of your screen, which I'll talk about in a moment, we have other games going on across the board. There's 20 games going on once again across the board throughout the Nations League. But the first game we've got to cover, of course, is England taking on Denmark. You will have seen England in their last game only just came out with a 2-1 win against Belgium. A very unconvincing result, you do have to admit, if you watch the game, of course. Belgium's slightly unfortunate to not come out with anything in that fixture. But England, they've got a chance here today to go 20 games unbeaten in all competitions, which is quite a fairly good kind of stat when you look across things. But at the same time, if you realistically speaking look at the games that we have played, not really too many massive games in there. So I guess we could say that, let's be real, 20 games unbeaten isn't necessarily as impressive if you're not playing some of the bigger nations across the board. But the important thing is we did get that 2-1 win against Belgium, and they are technically ranked world number one right now. So we've done a good job there. And then, of course, Denmark, a side which we've already played in the Nations League this season. It was a 0-0 draw, a very boring game of football indeed. And you've got to admit that on paper, Denmark do have a very, very good side indeed. Lots of memorable players on the pitch, the likes of Christian Eriksen, Thomas Delaney, Højbjerg as well, of course. A lot of Premier League stars and former Premier League players in that lineup and recognisable players that tonight will be very, very hard indeed for England to come out and get a result because they are technically the second/third best team in our group alongside the likes of Iceland and ourselves, of course. That's the first game we're covering tonight. We'll look at the lineups in a moment. Let's have a quick look at the chat, see how you guys are doing. Chris is doing good, thanks. So pumped for the Merseyside derby on Saturday. Hopefully ready to put Everton back in their place. Looking forward to it. So excited. We're going to be covering that on a live stream, which I'll tell you, of course, in a little moment's time on what we're going to be doing for that. Bernardo put in comment, Harry, straight red card and stay for the weekend. God knows what's going to happen tonight. How are you doing, Bernardo? I hope you're all good. And Maxwell has put, guess who's back again? Go on, Maxwell. How are you doing? I hope you're all good, pal. Good to see you all in the stream. Of course, kick off of these games in just about 10 minutes' time. As I said as well, we are covering another game tonight. At the same time, Croatia are taking on France. Now, I'm doing this just in case the England game is a little bit dire. It probably is going to be, and that's no pun intended. But it could be an interesting game of football. The last time these two sides faced off, it was a 4-2 victory for France in a very good game at the Nations League. And then, of course, if you want to go a little bit further back than that, there was the incredible game at the 2018 World Cup final, which ended, I believe, 4-2 to France again. So there's been quite some good results between these two sides in the past, of course. If you look at the lineups, which we'll show in a little bit of a moment's time, two very good teams out tonight, strong teams from both sides. Could we see another thriller from these two sides? We will have to find out in a little bit. And then, of course, you can see at the bottom of your screen, 20 games going on across the entirety of today. Italy taking on Netherlands, Poland taking on Bosnia, Portugal against Sweden, Turkey against Serbia, Iceland, of course, in our group alongside Belgium. Scotland are also facing the Czech Republic, and Norway taking on Northern Ireland. They're just some of the biggest games going on today. There's a whole host of other matches going on as well at 7:45, but we'll keep you up to date with those ones, so you'll see the live scores coming up as we go along in this stream, and fingers crossed we do get some good results indeed. Apologies, I had to check there. I feel like I've burnt my leg somehow. Don't know how I've done it. But yeah, we'll keep you up to date with the live scores of those games. But before we do start, of course, with the kickoff of the fixtures, let's have a quick look at the lineups for England, who are taking on Denmark tonight. Interesting fixture this one is indeed. But before we do that, let's have a quick look at the chat, because there's loads of you in here. How are we all doing, of course? Great to see everybody in the stream. Maxwell's actually going to keep us updated on all. I will do indeed. It's going to get very busy for me tonight, but I'm going to keep you updated with all the fixtures below and the live scores. But I'll put deadline day was amazing. It was indeed. It was absolutely fantastic. So thanks once again to everybody who joined from that. And then Florian has put 2-0 for England. Put your score predictions in the chat, because we will make them in the moment. But let's have a quick look at the lineups for tonight's fixtures. So starting with the England lineup, it's technically a 3-5-2 for England tonight. Could be a 5 at the back as well. Jordan Pickford is in goal. Maitland-Niles, Walker, Cody, Maguire, and Reece James consisted the back 3/5. Of course, Maitland-Niles and Reece James are the two fullbacks that will move up the pitch tonight. You would expect them to. You've got Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips in the midfield to make the midfield two. And then up top, of course, no matter what happens, it will be three up top. You've got Mason Mount, Harry Kane, and Marcus Rashford, of course. Dominic Calvert-Lewin being dropped from that previous game. So a slight change of the system there. Not necessarily in terms of the formation, but the players playing in the game tonight. So that is the England lineup. And then looking at the Danish lineup, their lineup with a 4-3-3 tonight. Schmeichel is in goal, the ever-present goalkeeper of Leicester City. Back four, that includes Robert Skov of Hoffenheim, Andres Christensen, Simon Kjaer for his 100th appearance, and Daniel Vass playing at right back. Midfield three, we've got Højbjerg, Eriksson, and Delaney, some recognisable players in there. And then up top tonight for Denmark, you've got Yusuf Poulsen, you've got Kasper Dolberg, and you've got Braithwaite that are starting in that game, of course, for England against Denmark. So that is the first set of lineups, as you can see on your screen, for England, who had taken on Denmark with kick-off in just a moment's time. Before we have a quick look at the other lineups, which, as I said, the other game going on is Croatia versus France. Chris has put in the chat my predictions. England 2-1 Denmark, but wouldn't be shocked if England get beat. Negative England fan, I know. And 2-0 to France. Let's see what happens there. And then Benalda's put 2-1 England. Pickford for a slip-up. Probably going to happen at some point. It's very typical for Pickford to make a slip-up. And then looking as well at the other ones, Benalda put 2-1 win for Croatia. And Florian's put, I'm a Dinamo Bucharest fan, but I love Liverpool too. Good to see you all in the stream as always. Fantastic to see you all in the stream. So the other game going on, Croatia versus France. Here's the lineup for the games. Croatia going with a 4-2-3-1. Livakovic in goal, the Dinamo Zagreb goalkeeper. Back four of Uremovic, Dejan Lovren of Zenit, Vida, and Barisic of Rangers, who of course will be expected to play in that Old Firm derby next week. Defensive midfield two of Bedelj and Luka Modric. Attacking midfield three of Pasalic, Vlasic, and Ivan Perisic of Inter Milan. And Petkovic up top for the Croatians. And then the French team tonight is looking like this. Hugo Lloris is in goal. Back four of Digne, Longley, Varane, and Mendy. Midfield three of Rabiot and Zonzi and Tolisso. Attacking midfielder is going to be Griezmann tonight. And then up top, alongside Kylian Mbappe, is Anthony Martial, who was dropped in that previous game. Olivier Giroud played up top with him. So we could see maybe technically a 4-3-3. You could have Griezmann on the left, Mbappe on the right, Martial in the middle, or either way, it's probably going to be a 4-3-1-2 with Griezmann lining up as a cam. So they are the two lineups for the games ahead. Just looking right now at the two matches, the national anthems going on in both games. Let's have a quick look at the chat, of course. Alexis in the stream, how are you doing, buddy? Hope you're all good. He says those fullbacks of Croatia, oh good lord, the horror. I mean, it's not the strongest set of fullbacks in the world at all. And then Maxwell's put 2-1 to Denmark just because it isn't England's strongest team. I'm going to go 3-2 to England, trying to be an optimistic person here for a good game. Probably going to end 0-0, but we'll have to find out in a moment. But just before the games do start, there's still plenty more content to come on the channel. So if you aren't, as always, do leave a like and a subscription. There's plenty more watch-alongs to come, and here's what's come over the next few weeks. So you can see on the screen we've got a Derby Day special on the 17th of October at 12:15. It's the Merseyside and the Old Firm Derby. Then you can join us, the return of the Champions League, 20th of October at 7:30. Groups E to H will be live with our goal show. Then the day afterwards, we've also got Groups A to D covering every single Champions League match as the live as the goals go in, of course. The 22nd of October, we'll be back at 7:45 with Celtic versus AC Milan as our picked game from the Europa League for that week. And then, of course, what a game of football this is going to be. 24th of October, 10 days' time, 2:45, Barcelona versus Real Madrid in the El Clasico. So do hang tight. There's plenty of incredible games to come on the channel over the next couple of weeks in terms of our watch-alongs. Now, once again, as always, try not to spoil the scores in the chat. I do say this all the time, but people don't tend to spoil them. The only reason why I'm saying that is because I'm going to be a little bit further behind in the England-Denmark game, because I'm watching this on my laptop, so it will be a little bit further behind than the rest. As for the Croatia-France game, should be a little bit more up-to-date with that one, so should be all right there. But try not to spoil anything in the chat. Be very greatly appreciated indeed. But my predictions for the two games, I'm going to go, as I said, 3-2 to England. Optimistic, a little bit likely there, probably 0-0. And then the France game, I'm actually going to go for a 2-2 draw. I think that the French team is quite an interesting one tonight. Got a very strong attacking line, but Croatia always tend to give them quite a decent game. So we'll have to find out what happens in that match. I'm seeing Jamie's comment. Oh, you're good, Jamie 9575. He says England to win 3-1. Came with 2 or 3 assists. And Denmark's midfield to dominate. Chris has put whatever team France picks is unstoppable. Absolutely agree with you. It's such a good team on paper, but who knows what's going to happen tonight. And then, of course, Bernardo's put Wow and Zonzi. I feel like I never see him on a national level. And I tell you what, he does get picked fairly often. So crack open a can. Get yourself sat back, because it is going to be a busy set of fixtures. It isn't just these games going on today. You will see on your screen now there's a whole host of other fixtures going on, including Italy versus Netherlands. What a set of fixtures tonight across the board. Be interesting to see what happens within all those matches. But as I said, sit back and relax, because it's going to get very hectic in a minute as we start our goal show / our watch-along of the England game and the France and Croatia game. So I'll keep you up to date with both of those as the goals do go in. But the England game is just about to kick off. The Croatia-France game just doing the national anthems right now. And fingers crossed, we have a good set of games on our hand, because you'll have seen yesterday, of course, a very good fixture between Germany and Switzerland. That ended 3-3, of course. Are we going to get the same thing today? We'll have to find out indeed. Well, the England players, of course, going down on the knee for Black Lives Matters. One of the England players, I think it was Rashford there, accidentally passing it off already, which is a bit of a strange decision from him. But we are underway in the England game. Be interested to see what happens here. I will see your comments in a second. The Wi-Fi has just gone down for 2 seconds, so let me sort that out. Well, here we go. Underway between England and Denmark. We had a nice, bright, early start in that game not too long ago, of course, against Belgium, where we had that first 5-minute spell where we really dominated in terms of possession and did a fairly decent job, to be honest. But are we going to be able to do the same tonight, or is it going to be a much harder test than we expected against the Danes, of course? A very good side on their day, and like I said in that previous match, it was a 0-0 draw indeed. Jamie's put odds on Kane getting injured. Got to be Bale, 100%. No way God would let us have Son, Kane and Bale in one lineup. I think there's a lot of fans out there that are hoping that you can get Bale, Son and Kane in the lineup, because on paper, that is an absolutely bonkers attack in terms of the prowess and the power of the players in the team. It's such a good lineup, and hopefully, fingers crossed for you, when the players are all fit, that you can keep every player fit and well, because, I mean, it's such a dangerous team for Spurs on paper. Just as you said, whether they can keep fit or not is going to be an interesting question. I mean, Bernardo's put himself, it's a dream for us, Jamie. And Imad just put, hi, I'm from Russia, I support Zenit St. Petersburg, and Russia, of course. Welcome to the stream, buddy. Hope you're all good. Very best of luck for Russia today. Keep you up to date with the scores of that. But still waiting for the kickoff of the France game here. Seems to be a little bit slow in terms of the actual stream. I'm going to see if I can refresh it and get it up to date a little bit more, because it seems very, very slow indeed. But this England-Denmark game, first kind of 2 minutes of this match so far, and it's Denmark having a foothold of possession here, but Kane's got the ball back, and he's done very well. He is at the edge of the box, takes the shot on, but there's a major deflection from Simon Kjaer, which will kind of head it. Sorry, not head it. Will kind of pass it back towards Schmeichel. It's a very easy save for him in the end. So a little small opportunity there for England to come forward in those first few minutes, but they haven't made anything of an opportunity there. Hopefully, Croatia versus France has kicked off now, because I can get that back underway and we can get our eyes on it. So that hasn't kicked off, but we should be all good indeed. Denmark here with just a little bit of possession in their own half, taking their time, no rush and urgency from those players. So what I'm going to do is for the scoreboard and the timer, I am going to kind of link it up with the time of the Croatia-France game. And talking about France, they're coming forward here. It's Kylian Mbappe on the right-hand side, trying to lob a ball into the box towards Martial, but nothing comes of it, and eventually it's going to be cleared away. So a few early chances from both, I was going to say both home sides, but technically they're not. England the home side today, France the away side in this match indeed. But it does look like just a couple of minutes behind in the Croatia-France game. I'm going to try and find out. It is just a case of the game kicking off a little bit late, which is all right by me. I thought my stream was maybe a little bit too far behind from the rest, but we're all good indeed. And let's have a look at the chat, see what you guys are saying. Bernard Point got to keep tabs on Antonio Rice and Bowen. Nikhil is saying, "Are you crazy? Are you mad?" I don't know what to talk about that. You'll have to tell us in the chat, Nikhil. What am I being crazy about? And then Jamie's put, "We need our guys fit to smack them up." And I just put, "I can't wait for our Champions League group against Lazio, Dortmund and Club Brugge." Got to agree with you. Very good group. Very interesting one, actually, to see what happens for St. Petersburg. We've got an attack here. England coming forward. A ball lobbed into the box towards the path of Marcus Rashford. He can't get a touch on the ball. It's going to get cleared away, and it's Reece James with a very good in-swinging ball and a very good chance indeed in that first couple of minutes. And talking about a chance, a minute and a half in, and Perisic is trying to lob a ball into the box, get it towards the path of Petkovic, the Dinamo Zagreb forward. He can't get a touch on the ball, and eventually he's going to see that ball go out of play. But a nice early start in these games, as I said. We'll keep you up to date with all of the goals as they do go in across the board. And fingers crossed, we do get a couple of goals tonight, because it has been quite interesting in terms of the Nations League games so far. There's been a couple of interesting matches that have gone on. I'm just going to get rid of Nikhil because I don't know what he's saying. I think he might have lost the plot. Unfortunate for you, buddy. But yeah, it's been a few decent games here and there. Some interesting matches, and then some other games that have been quite boring, to be honest. I mean, he has put "you are talking too much." Well, that's the whole point of the stream, Nikhil. I wouldn't be here. If you want, I can sit in silence and we'll not say anything. But that would be quite boring. France are on the attack here. Antoine Griezmann on the far right-hand side. Got some space to work the ball into. Trying to loft it into the box towards Martial. Can't get it into the path of Martial. And Vida is there to clear it. We might have a France corner here. A good opportunity for the away side here to maybe get something early doors. And in this England game, early yellow card. Harry Maguire going into the book. And Denmark with a free kick opportunity. So the corner's been lofted in by France, and eventually it's been cleared away, but nothing really coming of it. And we could go back and focus our attentions here on the England-Denmark game, of course. This one is quite an interesting game indeed, because it was a 0-0 draw before, and we have had a goal elsewhere in one of the matches that we're keeping our eyes on. And if you are a Scottish fan, then you must be absolutely delighted, because Scotland are 1-0 up against the Czech Republic. First goal of the Nations League today, which what I will do here is, there we go, we've got that on the screen now. Should probably freeze for a second. There we go. First goal of the day going to Ryan Fraser. Of course, the new Newcastle man. Getting a goal there. Fantastic to see him get a goal for Scotland. So first goal of the day has gone to Scotland. We are still waiting for a goal in these other fixtures between England and Denmark and Croatia versus France. England-Denmark just a little bit further forward than the Croatia-France game. That other game, which was talking about the France one, kicked off just a couple of minutes after the England game had. So all the other games across the board are around 8 minutes in. The France game, is 5 minutes in. So we will have a little bit of extra time to talk through that game as things go on. But let's have a quick look at the English-Denmark game here and see what's happening. 0-0 as it currently stands, 6 minutes in. Not really many opportunities for either side so far. Maguire obviously going into the book early, which I'm just seeing the foul now. It was a sliding tackle from Maguire on Yusuf Poulsen that he just clipped the top of his foot, and it's the right decision from the referee to give that as a free kick. But England might have to do a bit of defending here, and very nearly we could have saw a potential own goal. It was a good opportunity for Denmark to come forward, and just seeing the chance here, it was Yusuf Poulsen on that right-hand side, just an in-swinging ball into the box, and it was just a missed opportunity, trying to see who the player is there. I think it's one of the kind of midfielders that come forward. Sorry, Kasper Dolberg just couldn't get a touch on the ball. It's cleared by Cody, and we do have a corner here for Denmark. Could we see an early goal on the board? Of course, Denmark have got to try and get a win today if they want to qualify in that top position in the Nations League. But Eriksen's going to hit the ball in low, and it was a good chance for Dolberg once again. As I said, it was a low, in-swinging ball into the box. Dolberg just found himself in a little bit of space. Really good work there from the Inter Milan midfielder, Christian Eriksen. Lays the ball down low. Dolberg gets the strike on. There's a slight deflection from Calvin Phillips, and it does mean we have another corner here for Denmark. Eriksen this time looks like he's going to swing it into the box. Eriksen lofts it in, but this time it doesn't come to anything, and it is eventually going to get cleared away by Calvin Phillips, who just results to hoofing the ball up long and clearing it out of play. So a few little chances here and there in the match, but as it stands right now, England still 0-0 against Denmark in these first couple of minutes. And as for the other game going on, it is also Croatia 0, France 0. And as you would expect, France just dominating for large spells of this first 6 minutes. Being fairly quiet in terms of opportunities, but of course, we're only a few minutes in, so not necessarily going to get a whole host of chances early on into this match. But England and Denmark does seem like an interesting game on paper. Two very decent sides. I don't think, to be honest, that our England team is necessarily outstanding. I think it's a bit of a weaker side today, which is expected. But there has been another goal elsewhere. It kind of is like a mini goal show today for the Nations League. There's been a goal for Belgium. Of course, they have a little bit more pressure put on them now after England's victory against them a few days ago. But they're 1-0 up against Iceland. Romelu Lukaku with the first shot of the game, resulting in a goal 9 minutes in, and he continues his stunning record in terms of his amount of goals for Belgium in competitions and friendlies. It's a stunning record. It's something like 15 goals in 14 games or something stupid like that. And 1-0 to the good there. So you'll be able to see on your screen right now, let me take the scoreboard off, that we are getting a couple of the goals flying in across the board around the Nations League tonight. As I said, it isn't just these two games between England and Denmark and Croatia and France that are going on. There's a whole host of other games indeed. Chris has put in the chat the levels to this game. Eric Dyer gets a call up, but Carlisle midfielder Super John Mellish doesn't get a look in. Mellish has been one of the midfielders in top 4 English League so far. Maybe one day, you never know. We'll have to find out, but France are in here. Oh, it's a peach of a strike from Antoine Griezmann, and he does the classic celebration, and that is a fantastic finish. And just like that, we have a goal in one of our two games, and it's France 1, Croatia 0. And we said about this game before, being one of these matches in the past where it's had plenty of goals before, and Griezmann kicks this game off 8 minutes in, 1-0. And just looking at the opportunity right now, it's Mendy from left back, who lovely driving run from the Manchester City fullback. There's a deflection on the ball from Vida. It lays the ball gets laid off to Antoine Griezmann. He takes one touch. He hits it on the half volley as the ball is bobbling, and it's an absolutely fantastic finish from the Barcelona forward, who of course will be playing in El Clasico in a few weeks' time. And just like that, we have a goal, and it's France 1, Croatia 0. Interesting start to this game indeed, and it's a great finish, you have to say, from the really good forward. I mean, Griezmann on his day is absolutely incredible. Such a good player, and a fantastic finish there means we're 1-0 to the good in that match. And we've said before that the last game in the Nations League finished 4-2 to France. Could we see another classic today in the Nations League? Of course, we will have to find out indeed. But do put in the chat any questions. It doesn't have to be about the Nations League. It could be anything about football that we could talk about over the next 45 minutes because it is, of course, a little bit harder when I'm on my own doing it because it means I've got to try and fill all the dead space as we go along. But do chuck in your questions. It'd be nice to hear a few of your questions and thoughts and opinions throughout the show today. But Jeremy's put, rumour has it that he's doing that celebration in hopes that Simeone calls him up and brings him home. I mean, I'd like to see him go back to Atletico Madrid at some point. That would be quite cool. But no, he's just such a good player on his day. Just a shame that he doesn't get a great deal of game time when he plays for Barcelona. Well, I guess he does get game time for Barcelona, but probably not as appreciated as you'd expect him to be. But let's go back to the England-Denmark game here for a moment, because right now, England are on the front foot here, just coming forward, courtesy of Kyle Walker. Reece James lays it off into Mason Mount on the far right-hand side. He's got a lovely driving run here. He's still going Mason Mount. He's got into the box, tried to lay the ball off into the path of it looked like Harry Kane. A few protests, a potential penalty shout, but Mason Mount knows there he's got to do a little bit better if he wants England to get a 1-0 lead in this match. So, as it stands, still 1-0. Still 0-0 between England and Denmark so far. But at this point in the chat, has he been overshadowed at Barca? Or is it more underperforming? And I guess you could probably say, in a way, it's a little bit of both. I guess, as Jamie's put, play with Messi and try to get attention. It's a very impossible thing to do. It's very hard to get attention when, Messi is always that kind of front figure of Barcelona. But I guess you could say a little bit of underperforming as well, because it wasn't just Griezmann underperformed last season. It was pretty much the whole of the Barcelona side that struggled a little bit. But I guess you could say, to a certain extent, it's a little bit of both. He will have a lot more pressure on him this season after Barcelona struggled last season, because they have to do better no matter what. It was such a disappointing season for the fact that they bottled the league, the Champions League defeat. So maybe we might see a little bit more of Griezmann now. I know obviously Koeman's a big fan of him, so hopefully we'll see a little bit more. But I'd have probably said it's in between. It's a little bit of kind of Messi being the four figure and him underperforming. But England are in here. Mason Mount with a ball into the box. Once again, it's a low curling ball towards Harry Kane. It's cleared away by Andres Christensen, but the ball is going to come back to England again. This time it's Reece James who lofts it in towards Kane. Can't get his head on it. Cleared away by Kier. And Calvin Phillips has done very well to keep the ball in play, but he should have let it roll out because it has come straight to Denmark, and we might have a potential counter-attacking opportunity here. But very good work from Calvin Phillips to make up for his mistake, technically, and keep the score 0-0. So England there, kind of up against it right now in this first 15 minutes. A lot of work for them to do, of course. The pressure's on tonight because they have to go and win this match no matter what. If they want to do top of the group, because of course remember the way that the Nations League works is that if you're in the top brackets, so League A, which is the bracket that England is in, if you finish first, then you do go into the Nations League knockout stages, which of course England were in last year when they faced Netherlands and got pretty much embarrassed in that match, but we'll not talk about that. But the teams that finish first, they go into the knockout stages. England right now, they won't technically sit first right now because Belgium are winning, but if they do beat Denmark and Belgium win, then we will still stay in first place, of course, and be potentially a step closer to the Nations League knockout stages, which would be fantastic to see because it's a very underappreciated tournament, I think. I don't mind the Nations League. We've had some good games so far, but Chris has asked a question in the chat while the two games have gone a little bit quiet, although England are coming forward here. There's a long-range effort from Marcus Rashford, which goes straight into the hands of Schmeichel, and then the chance goes missing. But Chris has thoughts on Premier League clubs rejecting the Project Big Picture, and I think it was a shambolic idea, a very, very terrible idea indeed, that I'm glad clubs have rejected, because I saw there were statements coming out from the likes of Cardiff saying that they liked the idea, and I think when you look at it on paper, it was a shoddy idea. It pretty much was kind of like a cheap blackmail. Obviously giving a lot of cash to EFL clubs, making sure that they're financially stable, but we give you cash in the short term, it will affect you in the long term. And I'm glad that, if you look at it on paper, that there's a lot of clubs that have kind of rejected it, because it is a horrible, horrible idea, and I'm just thankful that it's not gone any further, because the whole idea in the first place was ridiculous, and I think there's a lot of Liverpool and Man U fans themselves that look at the whole idea and think, I don't want it, and I'm a Liverpool fan. But we've got a mistake here from Pickford. He's hit the ball out long, and there's a chance here for Kasper Dolberg to come forward. It's a ball in towards the box from Christian Eriksen, but Kasper Dolberg just can't get a touch on the ball, and England might have a potential counter-attacking opportunity here. It's Mason Mount on the far right-hand side, lays it off to Reece James. They might have a chance for an in-swinging ball. He's going to lay it back into the path of Declan Rice. Just taking their time here. No rush and urgency from this England midfield tonight. Of course, only 17 minutes in, and it doesn't look like anything's going to come of this opportunity, which is a real shame because I think there was a chance to come forward there from England. But just seeing in the chat, Sasha's in the building. Hope you're good. Nice to see you from Norway, pal. Welcome to the stream as always. Good to see the regular faces. Of course, if you are new, as always, do leave a like and a subscription. It's very greatly appreciated as we push towards the 1,300 subscribers mark. But England are going to be tested here because Eriksen's driving forward and he takes a long-range speculative effort on from about, I'd say about 30 yards out. And, well, it's not the best of efforts in the world. It's always rising. And a little bit of a worry there. A counter-attacking opportunity for the Danes. And there was plenty of space for Christian Eriksen to work into. But got to be lucky there that the opportunity has always gone high and rising. But we have had a goal in one of the other games that we are keeping a close eye on tonight. Slovakia 1-0 up against Israel. Marek Hamšík, former Napoli midfielder, with a goal in that game. And we've had another goal elsewhere. This is an interesting one because Belgium are 1-1. We said a moment ago that Romelu Lukaku had scored in the 9th minute to put them into the lead. And Iceland have equalised. It's come from Brikemar Seversen. I think that's how you pronounce it. So 1-1 in that game, and it's an all-square match. Interested to see what happens there because Iceland, they've struggled in their Nations League group so far. But if they could pick up a result against the Belgians, then that would be absolutely massive for them, of course. Their last fixture, they did score against the Belgians and then were battered. I think it was 4 or 5-1 in the end. So can they do a little bit better tonight? But 19 minutes on the clock here between England and Denmark. 17 minutes on the clock here in the Croatian-France game. And as it currently stands across the board, France are 1-0 up against Croatia, courtesy of Antoine Griezmann. And England still 0-0 against Denmark. So we'll have to see what happens there, of course. Plenty of time left in both games. But England here, they've got a corner in the 19th minute. Can they make the most of this opportunity? Just look at the chat right now. Jamie saying Adrian versus Pickford. It's going to be 5-5. Well, talking about Derby Day, actually, while these games have just gone a little bit quiet. Obviously, we're live once again on the 17th of October. That is when club football is back. It's a Derby Day special. There's going to be streams galore on Saturday because we've got at 12:30 the fixtures of the Old Firm Derby, which I'm going to be covering the Old Firm Derby. And then joining me on the special Derby Day, we've got Kieran L, who's going to be watching the Liverpool-Everton game. So there's going to be 2 Derby fixtures going on at the same time. And it's kind of going to be a very small goal show that we're going to be doing. So keep your eyes out for that, because that is going to be very, very fun to cover indeed. That's on the 17th of October from 12:15. And then afterwards, there might be another stream around about 5:15, because AC Milan are up against Inter Milan. Of course, the Milan derby in Serie A is on the same day, as we might have a potential penalty shout here between Croatia and France. Martial has gone down. He's not calling for a penalty. Mbappe was, and the referee tells him to get up, so the opportunity, of course, doesn't come to anything, and there's no penalty shout in the end. But do keep your eyes out, because it's going to be very fun indeed on Derby Day. Lots of fixtures to cover on that Saturday, and very excited for the Old Firm derby between Celtic and Rangers. We'll get a quick sip there, apologies, I will have drinks in between. We have had a goal, and in fact we've had a couple of goals elsewhere across the board. As I said, it's a very busy night of fixtures across the UEFA Nations League. I'm going to try and keep you up to date with all the goals as they do go in. So we've had 2 goals elsewhere. One of the goals has come between Portugal and Sweden. And Portugal are 1-0 up, courtesy of Bernardo Silva. 21 minutes in, he is playing right wing tonight. Of course, no Ronaldo. So they are 1-0 to the good in that game. And Serbia are 1-0 up against Turkey. Sergei Milinkovic-Savic, who scored not too long ago, actually, in their Euro 2020 qualifier. Not qualifier, sorry, the playoffs. Scored the winning goal in that game. And, of course, he's now scored once again. So 1-0 to Serbia against a very good informed Turkey side, of course. We'll have to see how that goes on right now. But the two main games we're covering here, England-Denmark, still 0-0 after 22 minutes. There's a potential chance here for England. We're about 30 yards out from goal. Declan Rice at the edge of the field lays it off towards Reece James on the far right. He just gets a slight connection on the ball and tries to roll it towards Harry Kane, but it's cleared away and England do get a throw-in. And then 20 minutes in, Croatia-France has been a little bit quiet since the goal. Not really many opportunities at all for either side, but of course Griezmann has the important goal right now that could give France all the 3 points in their Nations League group. And of course we'll have to see what happens with the next 70 minutes of the game left. But England-Denmark here. Denmark coming forward. It's Kasper Dolberg who's had a lot to do in this first 20 minutes. He tries to make a run of his own, and it's not a convincing shot from him, but Pickford has to come out and get the ball, or else it looked like Martin Braithwaite was going to have an opportunity on goal. He does come out in the end and stops a potential small opportunity for Denmark to get a 1-0 lead. And good work there from Pickford. Of course, he has had a few of his doubters, which is understandable considering some of the mistakes he's made in the last couple of weeks. But he did very well there to get the ball. And we have had not a goal in one of the games, but we've had a sending off. Bosnia are down to 10 men after 14 minutes. Anel Ahmed Hodzic, has been sent off in that game. So they're down to 10 men. Poland there with a massive opportunity to potentially run wild in that match. Of course, down to 10 men, Bosnia there. So not good for them at all. Ahmed Hodzic getting sent off in that game with 14 minutes on the clock, which is mad. Absolutely mad. Don't know how he's got himself sent off there, but keep you up to date with that one, because that Poland game could get very feisty with Lewandowski playing. But we have a free kick opportunity here. A corner for England, which Reece James is going to take. He's left the ball, actually. Calvin Phillips is going to take it instead. The Leeds midfielder, what can he do? The ball is swung into the box, and he doesn't reach anyone, and it's cleared away very quickly by Simon Kjaer, and we now might have a potential Denmark counter-attacking opportunity. It's Thomas Delaney with the ball towards the middle of the pitch. He's going to try and make a driving run forward, but hasn't really got any space to actually drive forward into, and is eventually going to have to pass it back into the four-man defence of Denmark. Of course, they've got Robert Skov playing at left-back, which eventually he plays it off too. But not really a convincing start by either side. I think it's a very even game. Denmark with a few opportunities of their own. England, I wouldn't say have really had any important opportunities on goal. In fact, having a quick look at the stats, England have had 2 shots, 1 on target. Denmark have had 3 shots, none on target. So still really waiting for a big opportunity from either side in that game. And as for Croatia-France, we've not really had many opportunities at all since that Griezmann goal, but France are coming forward here. It's Martial who lays it off to Benjamin Mendy, who will get the assist for that first goal. Sorry, Ferland Mendy, it actually looks like that's playing. I'll have to check that out in a minute and see which one of the 2 Mendys it is. I'm going to quickly check now just to make sure. It is actually Ferland Mendy. He's playing on the right-hand side today. So interesting choice there. So Ferland Mendy there. Very good run, of course, for the assist originally for the first goal. And he's had a very good start to this game, playing a position that he wouldn't usually play. Of course, used to play as left-back, necessarily speaking, for Real Madrid, but playing on the other side tonight. So we'll have to see how he does in that game. But just looking across the board, we've had an interesting set of goals, because it looks like we've had goals in the Italy-Netherlands game. Now, it only seems to have just updated on my screen, which is kind of annoying because these goals have been in for a couple of minutes. But Italy 1, Netherlands 1. It actually started off with Italy scoring in the first couple of minutes. 16 minutes in, it was Lorenzo Pellegrini, of course, the Roma midfielder. He scored, and then 9 minutes later, in fact, just a moment ago, Manchester United midfielder Donny van de Beek equalised. So 1-1 in that game. good start to that match, of course. Another one of the big fixtures going on tonight in the Nations League, alongside these two fixtures between Croatia and England. We have had a new subscriber, by the way. Thank you to all of you that have subscribed. It's very greatly appreciated if you have the Gareth Bale heart on me. But Bernardo says that he likes these blue kits, and I do have to agree with you. I think they're very nice kits indeed, the English blue kits that they've got on. Really, really nice. I like the kind of the red stripes on the side. Looks like a lightning bolt, which is quite coincidental to the shirt that I'm wearing. But it does look very nice indeed. Really does. But we've got a chance here for Croatia in their game against France. Perisic with a 35-yard free kick that he does hit. And it just goes above the right-hand side of the post. A very good chance indeed. That doesn't come to anything, unfortunately. But it still stays 1-0 to France. And, of course, there's plenty of time for Croatia to get back in that match. So we'll have to see what happens there. As for England, 27 minutes on the clock here. Can they make an opportunity and take the lead? It's a really poor ball that doesn't lead to any opportunity on goal for England. And now Denmark try and hit on the break. Delaney goes down, but the referee doesn't call for a free kick. And now England can come forward here. It's Harry Maguire who's made a darting run forward. Eventually lays the ball off towards Kane, who's going to have to pass it back because there's no one around him to kind of hit the ball towards. Here's Kyle Walker, who I think, in my opinion, was one of the better players on the pitch against Belgium. Man of the match performance from him, I would have said. Lays it off to Reece James on the far right-hand side. It goes back to Walker, who puts an on-swinging ball into the box. It's cleared away desperately by the Danish defenders, and they're holding on very slightly here as England come forward with a flurry of attacks. Walker makes a bombing run forward. Ball's not laid off to him. Harry Kane's going to have to pass it back to Declan Rice. Some good football here from England, but it does feel like it's not going to lead to much. Although Declan Rice lays the ball in, Mount lays it off for Kane. It's an awkward touch from Kane, and he's so unfortunate there because he gets the right touch on the ball. It would have been 1-0 to England, and it's just so unlucky. The ball bobbles, and he tries to get that one touch where he can kind of lay it to himself and hit it with a powerful effort, but very unlucky indeed. And just kind of look at the replay. It was a great ball from Declan Rice. Mount takes the touch, and it's that touch on the left foot from Harry Kane which just pings the ball up a little bit and makes it awkward for him to take the shot on. And had he got the right connection there, I think we would have been saying England 1, Denmark 0, but it's going to still stay 0-0 right now with about half an hour to go. As for the Croatian team, they're coming forward here. Ivan Perisic on the left-hand side. What can he do? Going to lay it off to the right-hand side. Some good football here. It's Pasalic. Going to try and chip the ball in. Oh, this could be a good opportunity. Petkovic is going to get cleared away. Some good defending at the back from Ferland Mendy, who I have to say has had a fantastic start to this game. And eventually the ball is cleared away, and some desperate defending there. Pasalic playing on the right-hand side. Vlasic in the middle in that match. So we'll have to see what happens there, of course, between Croatia and France, which they are coming forward once again here, but nothing too major. So let's have a quick look at the scores on the bottom of your screen right now, see where the goals have been flying in. Of course, if you are new as always, whether you're watching this live or as a replay, do leave a subscription if you have enjoyed the watch-along/goal show since we've started it this evening. So let's have a look at those live scores on the bottom of your screen. Italy 1-1 against the Netherlands. Italy took the lead 16 minutes in before Donny van der Beek scored 10 minutes later to equalise. Poland 0, Bosnia 0. Bosnia currently down to 10 men after 14 minutes. Very disappointing for them there. Portugal 1, Sweden 0. Bernardo Silva with the opening goal in that game, 21 minutes on the clock. Serbia 1-0 up against Turkey. Sergej Milinkovic-Savic with the goal in that game. Iceland won, Belgium 1. That's an interesting game. Lukaku scoring 10 minutes in, and then Iceland equalising 5 minutes later. So going to be interesting to see what happens there, whether Iceland can hold on. Scotland 1-0 against Czech Republic. Goal there, which came from Ryan Fraser, the Newcastle forward. And the other game going on, of course, is the Northern Ireland-Norway game. Still 0-0 in that match. And we have a red card. Harry Maguire has just got himself sent off. It's a double yellow, and 31 minutes into this game, England are down to 10 men. And well, I've kind of missed it slightly there because I was obviously checking the results to see what's happened. But Maguire walks down the tunnel, and England are going to have to change the game plans here because they're down to 10 men. And well, it looks like we're going to have to find out what happens here. I assume we'll have a replay shown in a moment, which we are now. Maguire, really heavy touch on the ball, and I have no idea what he's doing there. And, I mean, yeah, if you're watching the game right now, I've got no idea why he's gone in for that tackle on Dolberg. But he's gone for it, and he's been sent off. Double yellow. Correct decision from the referee. Absolutely spot-on decision. You know, the tackle was really, really poor, but they're going to have to change the game plan up because England are down to 10 men now. We're only half an hour into this game, and that's exactly the last thing that would have been wanted in this match for Gareth Southgate. Of course, there's going to have to be a change made now, which it looks like Tyrone Mings is going to come on. So a slight tactical tweak of the system, as you would expect from Gareth Southgate. But England down to 10 men. I'm just seeing in the chat right now, everybody's buzzing about it. Jamie's saying yes, but now they're saying slabhead. Jamie's saying no more Maguire, the Greek police have found him. So everybody in the chat delighted that Maguire's been sent off there, which is an interesting call. But yeah, down to 10 men. I mean, it's a stupid tackle from Maguire. I don't know what the fuck he's thinking in that situation, but shoddy is the best way of putting it. Very, very shoddy indeed. I'll be interested to see here who comes off for Tyrone Mings, what's going to be the change of system, but we'll find out in a second because there's still a few protests from a couple of players in terms of the decision being made. But Harry Maguire, he's already walked off the pitch, he knows what he's done, and it's an erratic decision from the English centre-back. But Tyrone Mings is going to come on in a second as England go down to 10 men, and well, what's going to happen here? We'll have to find out in just a moment's time because, well, they've got to change the game plan out somehow, and I don't know what's going to really happen here because this is going to be probably England's biggest test in the Nations League because they haven't been down to 10 men before in the Nations League. So we'll have to find out what happens here. But Jamie's put, I'm happy he got sent off. Rather him get sent off now and limit how much damage he can do to our defence, which I guess there'll be a few fans out there that are happy that he's been sent off. If you're not a Man U fan, of course. And I think I'd thought there the referee had actually given a penalty. I think he's given a goal kick and just telling Jordan Pickford to stop wasting time. But just having to check there. I mean, there's a bit of a scuffle between Delaney and Kyle Walker. I think that'd be a little bit harsh to give that away as a penalty. I mean, he does push him slightly. And I don't know what he's giving it. I assume it's going to be a goal kick. I mean, Pickford's waved it away and he's actually given a penalty. Well, once again, it's very similar to the Belgium one. I don't think there was really much in it, but Denmark have the penalty here, and Christian Eriksen's going to step up, and well, England did it down to 10 men, and now there's been a penalty given away, this time from Kyle Walker, and Christian Eriksen has a great opportunity here to put Denmark 1-0 up, and let's find out what happens here. Of course, we had a penalty in our previous game that was very harsh. Eriksen steps up, and he smashes it in, and just like that, England are 1-0 down, and I've got to say, I think a little harsh in terms of the penalty. I'd probably say so, but in the respect of what we were kind of given in the Belgium game, the penalty which Henderson got, I guess it's paid back for that decision, isn't it, really? But Denmark 1-0 up, and now is a serious worry because the game plan has got to completely change here from Gareth Southgate. I've got no idea what he's going to do in terms of how to work it because, of course, Mings is coming on, but just really looking at the kind of the penalty that's been given away there, I don't really see what it's been given for, to be honest. It's a very harsh one. There's a little bit of pushing and shoving going on, but not enough, I would say, to have given a penalty. But Maitland-Niles has come off here. Tyrone Mings has come on, so a little bit harsh there for Maitland-Niles. I think it was his second England start, so yeah, it's real unfortunate, of course. Has to come off here for the extra centre-back. So England down to 10 men and now down by 1 goal. And of course, Bernard's put still can't beat the first man, and it's a strange one. It's a weird one indeed, but the referee's given it, and of course you can't complain against the referee's decision. It isn't going to change anything. But what do England do now? Because they're down to 10 men, they're down by a goal, and of course, as it currently stands, that Belgium win which we got against, the win we got against Belgium, doesn't really mean anything at all if we lose against Denmark. And you can see the Danes here potentially looking to make the most of this. In fact, we are going to have a change here for Denmark. It looks like there's been an injury for one of the players, which is why we're going to see that change. And Pione Sisto is going to come on here for Kasper Dolberg, who does look a little bit like he's limping slightly. So a tactical tweak there from the Danish manager, Pione Sisto, playing for Watchalong in the Danish league. We're playing the Champions League actually in a few weeks against Liverpool. He comes on. He'll come up. I assume he'll play on the left-hand side. We might see Braithwaite or Yusuf Poulsen just go into the middle of the pitch and play as that striker, which both of them can play that position anyway. But yeah, I mean, what's your thoughts on that, guys? Tell us in the chat what you think about that being a penalty or not, whether you agree with it or disagree. Be interested to see what you guys think. But Chris has put the levels to this game. Harry Maguire gets called up, while Carlisle defender Aaron Hayden doesn't. Baffling, really. I mean, unbelievable. How dare he not call up a Carlisle player? Shame on him, Chris. You tell him. But we've got a foul here. Free kick for England, just past the halfway line. Andres Christensen going into the book there for a foul on Harry Kane. And I tell you what, we haven't really had much to talk about in the other game that's going on tonight between Croatia and France, because quite literally there hasn't really been much going on at all. There was a slight opportunity for Croatia to come forward about 5 minutes ago when the penalty was given, but it has been a quiet first 35 minutes of football. Of course, that Griezmann goal hasn't killed it off, but Croatia have got a lot of work to do if they want to get back into this game. But we're going to have a free kick here for England, just around at the halfway line, and Calvin Phillips is going to loft this one into the box. Of course, going to have to make the most of set pieces now. The ball is lofted in, comes towards Harry Kane, who gets a slight touch in it, and the referee has given... well, it's been given as an offside anyway. It looked like the referee pointed for the ball to be given back to Schmeichel, and it's the correct decision there. Harry Kane just slightly offside from when he connects with the ball, and a wasted free kick opportunity there for England. Of course, desperation is going to kick in at some point if they want to get back into that game. But there's been another goal in one of the games tonight. We're covering Slovakia now 2-0 up against Israel. Robert Mack with the goal in that game. So Will Pete will be crying in his bed tonight, realising that Israel are getting battered 40 minutes in. And there's been another goal in one of the games as well that I'm going to update on the screen now. Belgium, just as England have gone down, Belgium are now in the lead, 2-1 up against the against Iceland. I was going to say the Icelandics there. I mean, technically you could say that, but they are now 2-1 to the good, and it is another goal for Romelu Lukaku. He has just scored a penalty in that game, and that, as it currently stands, will put Belgium in a very good position indeed in terms of the Nations League. Top of the group, and they'll be top of the group by a couple of points now. In fact, technically, Denmark go top of the group in terms of the match right now. 1-0 up. 3 teams on 7 points, which is crazy, but of course everything can change as time does go on. But apart from that, we still haven't had any other goals elsewhere. We'll have to find out what happens. With the last couple of minutes to go, we are just heading towards the 40th minute mark of the game between England and Denmark, and we've still got about 8 minutes left of Croatia versus France. So at least when we do hit half-time of the England game, we should have a couple of minutes left of that game between Croatia and France to talk about. But James put just a reminder that in order for Harry Maguire to get called up, Southgate has to leave Dunk, Tarkowski and White, which is mental. I'm surprised he hasn't called up one of those players, but I guess it's Southgate, he never will. And Chris has put Harry Maguire with the best actor in Prison Break. You're probably not wrong, but very erratic decision there from Harry Maguire. Because you can kind of look at it and say, the red card is deserved. The 2 tackles that Maguire has gone in with are quite erratic. And he does connect with the players. But the penalty one is a bit of a dubious decision, in my opinion. I guess, of course, as I said before, we got a dubious decision against Belgium, so it kind of works both ways, really. But I guess with these matches, I think there's a lot of England fans out there that probably don't really care about what's going on tonight. I don't think there's really many fans that care about the Nations League at all, to be honest, which I guess is understandable. But we have had a goal elsewhere in one of the games tonight. Poland have taken a lead against Bosnia. Bosnia were down to 10 men after 15 minutes. Hadziemetovic with a player that got sent off in that game. They now have taken a lead, Poland. And of course, who else? Robert Lewandowski after 40 minutes on the clock. So good start there for Poland. Of course, you'd expect maybe a couple more goals to go in within that match Of course, as I said, Bosnia down to 10 men, so we'll have to find out what happens there. And James, but I'm only watching this to know if Kane gets injured. Well, hopefully he doesn't. Fingers crossed. I mean, it'd be nice for the Spurs fans, and I think Benaldo, of course, in the chat here will agree. It'd be nice if Kane, Son and Bale can be all fit, because I'm interested, actually, for you Spurs fans in the chat. Do you think that the three players will start up top, Kane, Son and Bale, in the game against West Ham? Because is Bale fit enough to play in that game? I've got no idea. Spurs fans will know a lot more than I do. We're heading towards the 40th minute of the Croatia versus France game. 1-0 to France as it currently stands. Not really much going on in that game at all. It's been a very quiet one indeed. But with about 5 minutes left of that game. And England currently 1-0 down to Denmark and also down to 10 men too. There's been a ball that was lofted in by Reece James, trying to get it towards Harry Kane. He's a little bit slow towards the ball and eventually it's cleared out of play. But a couple of small opportunities for England as we get towards the end of the first half. But Jamie put in the chat, Marino said they will, which is fantastic to see. Chris put, I hope John Henderson doesn't come on so he can play in the derby. I don't think he will. I think it'd be more likely for somebody maybe like a Grealish or someone to come on in this game. Just kind of rest up a few of the big players for the Premier League. And then Benaldo put, please, Bale, Son and Kane, which would be a very scary front line for West Ham. I know West Ham have done quite well, of course, in the Premier League since its return, but I think they'll have a tough job on their hands if they're playing Son, Bale and Kale. Son, Bale and Kale? Bale, Son and Kane. I've got my words mixed up. I do it all the time. 43 minutes on the clock, though. England 1-0 down. And I don't know what they do to get back in this game, to be honest. I could see Denmark maybe getting one or two more, depending on what happens here. It's going to be tough to keep them out now with an hour left of play, but I can't believe I just said Bon, Sale and Kane. Unbelievable. That's the ultimate trio, isn't it, at Spurs? Bon, Sale and Kane. But we have had another goal elsewhere. Portugal are now 2-0 up. They don't need Cristiano Ronaldo because they're doing very well right now against Sweden. Very solid job indeed. And to just have a quick look, the goal in that game has gone to Diogo Jota. So Liverpool fans, you will be quite delighted with that because he's got a goal against Sweden. And with 1 minute left of the first half, they are 2-0 to the good now and look like they're going to be coasting to another 3 points in their Nations League group. So Diogo Jota there, doing very well indeed. And James put, it's like bringing a rocket launcher to a game of rock, paper, scissors. You're absolutely spot on. It's a nutty forward line for Spurs. And I think West Ham fans will be very nervous indeed when they come up against them. But we've got 40 seconds of normal time left here between Denmark and England. I'll go through my thoughts and opinions of the first half when it does finish, of course. I'm going to say it has been very disappointing indeed. That's all I'm going to say so far. And then, of course, we'll talk through the rest of the the French-Croatia game, which has got a couple of minutes left of that one. That started a little bit later than the rest of the matches because of the national anthems and things like that. But we've got 10 more seconds here of normal time for England. They've got a throw-in the defensive half of play, and we should probably have a minute or two of additional time because of the penalty and the red card from Maguire. And we do indeed have 3 minutes of additional time. So we'll very quickly here focus on the England-Denmark game just for a moment. I will take off the France score for now so you can actually see the live scores as they go through. But there's been a foul given away here by Denmark. Højbjerg with a tackle on Harry Kane. He's gone down. And of course, I think the referee has given the free kick to the advantage of England. Let me just quickly check something there. He has indeed, and Højbjerg has got a booking for that, so that does mean Højbjerg will miss the next game that they play. And you might have just seen a moment ago, I have updated the scorelines because Poland are now 2-0 up. Karol Linetti has scored, so it's not Robert Lewandowski getting a goal in that game. It's Karol Linetti, Sampdoria midfielder. He's made it 2-0 to Poland, so they look like they're going to cruise now to a very comprehensive victory against 10-man Bosnia. But we've got 2 minutes left here of England versus Denmark. 1-0 down to the Danes, down to 10 men. England with their backs against the wall. And it really doesn't feel like they're going to make anything of this last 2 minutes, to be honest. Jordan Pickford has the ball. He's going to hoof the ball long towards Harry Kane. Good defending from Delaney means he can head the ball down. Eventually it's going to land at the feet of Pione Sisto, the vibrant Danish winger of Midtjylland. And now we could have a counter-attack here. Through ball, trying to get towards Yusuf Poulsen, who has moved into that striker position. But he doesn't get the ball, and eventually Pickford just hoofs the ball away towards Kane. And no chance comes of that. So I don't think we'll get any more chances here with about a minute and 20 seconds to go. But we've got a free kick here for France in the Croatia-France game. The ball's lofted into the box from Griezmann. Longley just gets a touch on it, but it's just wide of the left-hand side of the post. And another small opportunity in the game for France goes beckoning, and that was a great chance for Longley to double France's lead, but nothing comes of it there. Here comes Denmark on the attack. Daniel Vass from the right-back position lays it off to Martin Braithwaite, about 45 yards out from goal. He's going to lay it off back, and the Danes look quite happy here to sit back and just finish up at half-time with a 1-0 lead. And can you blame them, to be honest, because it has been a very good game for them indeed so far. Of course, they'll be delighted at the fact that they have got England down at 10 men and they've got the goal, so they don't have to worry about necessarily pushing desperately forward to try and nick a winner in that game. And Jamie's put, Højbjerg won't play, less risk of injury, but there might be one more chance here. Ball lofted into the box, trying to get towards Poulsen. It's cleared away very well, actually, by Kyle Walker. And England have one more chance to come forward with 6 seconds to go. They have to push forward here. Marcus Rashford, just at the edge of the halfway line. Kane trying and lofts the ball up, but the referee blows his whistle. And at half-time, England are 1-0 down and down to 10 men. Gareth Southgate not looking happy. He walks straight down the tunnel with a lot of work to do at Wembley if England want to get back into the game. We've still got a few seconds left of Croatia versus France, but it doesn't look like anything's going to happen in this game. Ball trying to get it towards Griezmann at the edge of the box. He can't get a touch, and some good work there from Badelj, who gets the ball out of play. And the referee blows his half-time whistle there. So we do have half-time across the board in these fixtures. And, there's a lot of work to do for England right now. That has been a very, very shoddy first half indeed. You look at the stats. As it currently stands for England, 4 shots but only 1 on target. As for the Danes, of course, they've also had 4 shots, 1 on target. But they have the all-important goal that they need, with England being down to 10 men. I mean, Harry Maguire was sent off after 30 minutes. 2 very reckless fouls that he's given away. 2 very stupid fouls and correct decisions from the referee. That could cost England here a very vital 3 points, because remember, at the start of the first half, they were at the top of the Nations League, top of the table, and everything was kind of going their way. But the Danes, they've come here to Wembley, and they've had a very good first 45 minutes indeed. Not necessarily been majorly convincing, but they've had a few decent small chances. England have struggled at times, and England have had a few chances of their own, I guess, but nothing too major. And as I said before, they've made the most of their opportunities, and they're in the lead, and they don't have to necessarily drive forward as desperately as maybe they thought they would have had to if they were still 0-0 at half-time to get the 3 points. Because now, if you look at the group as it currently stands, of course, Belgium go top of the group on 9 points because they're leading against Iceland. And Denmark and England both on the same points, but Denmark have a better goal difference, and of course they're leading anyway, so even if it was head-to-head, they'd be better than England. So they go into second, and England into third, which is just very disappointing because, as I said, you go into this game and you think, realistically speaking, that if England can get a result tonight and try and at least get a point against Belgium, they should realistically finish top of the group. But now, it's back in Belgium's hands once again, because if we do lose tonight to Denmark, which of course is looking likely that's probably going to happen, that result against Belgium means absolutely nothing. And, everything's back in Belgium's hands again, which is very annoying. And as Chris has put in the chat, you're spot on, buddy. Same old England. A very disappointing performance in terms of how we've played. And, of course, Maguire getting sent off really just kind of affect everything within the match itself. But do tell us in the chat, if you are watching the England game, what are your thoughts and opinions on the first 45? Because you've got to say, there is so much work for England to do with very limited resources. Now, they do still have 5 changes, of course. Technically 4, because they brought on Tyrone Mings for Ainsley Maitland-Niles. There's 4 changes that England can make at some point in this fixture. But of course, being down to 10 men, is it going to be enough for England to get back into it? Because it's going to be tough enough as it is to play with 10 men against what you've got to say is a fairly decent-looking Danish side. They've got some good players on their team. And they've done very, very well indeed so far. And I think it's going to be a very tough 45 minutes indeed. So that is half-time of the England-Denmark game. And then the other half-time, of course, Croatia versus France hasn't been as exciting as I thought it was going to be. We've only had 1 goal in that game, and the goal did come courtesy of Antoine Griezmann, who I have to say had a lovely finish early on into the match. A half volley inside of the box. It was a very good effort that flew into the top corner. The goalkeeper wasn't going to save it, and a really, really good goal indeed. But apart from that, there's been a few little other chances here and there. Mbappe missed a sitter. A really good chance. Martial at the edge of the left-hand side of the box lays the ball towards Mbappe, who pretty much has an open goal and misses it. Really, really fluky chance from Mbappe. And then Croatia had an opportunity of their own. It was from a set piece, ball lofted into the box. It was guided towards Petkovic, and his opportunity went a little bit high and wide, but not necessarily been the goal thriller that we wanted it to be. But with another 45 minutes left, I guess anything could happen. Of course, we'll have to find out what happens there. We'll have a look, of course, the results across the board at half-time. You can see, as it currently stands, Italy 1-1 against Netherlands. Italy took the lead in that game before Donny van de Beek equalised. 10 minutes later, Poland 2-0 up against 10-man Bosnia. Goals from Linetti and, of course, Lewandowski. Portugal 2-0 up against Sweden. 2 goals in that game. 1 from Bernardo Silva, 1 from near Liverpool man Diogo Jota. Turkey 1-0 down to Serbia. Sergej Milinkovic-Savic with a goal there. Belgium now 2-1 up against Iceland. They were 1-1 at one point. Lukaku with 2 goals in that game. One of them from the penalty spot. Done very well indeed, of course. Continues on his incredible international goal-scoring run. Scotland 1-0 up against the Czech Republic. The first goal of the day, that was from Ryan Fraser. And then Norway 0, Northern Ireland 0. Not really. In fact, there's been quite a few opportunities in that game, but no goals as of yet. And then just to keep you up to date with some of the other games going on that haven't been mentioned, Slovakia 2-0 up against Israel. Marek Hamšík and Robert Mack with the goals there. Romania 0, Austria 0. Been a bit of a quiet game, that one, but still goalless, plenty of time left there. Bulgaria 0-0 against Wales. They've not had any chances, Bulgaria, but holding Wales to a very good 0-0 draw. And then, of course, Russia 0, Hungary 0. Slovenia 3-0 up right now against Moldova. Vukic with 2 goals in that game, so they're flying. And, of course, right now, that's the highest scoring match of the night alongside Iceland and Belgium. But there is a lot of work here for England to do in the next 45. The question is, can they get back into it? We'll have to find out in just a couple minutes' time. But Jamie's put will probably, fluke a win and send the media crazy, which would be a very England thing to do. Of course, we do like to fluke results. Of course, we fluked a result against Belgium, if we were being quite frankly honest. 2 pretty poor goals that went our way. I mean, the penalty wasn't poor, but what was given was very poor indeed. And I guess you could say the same tonight about the penalty that was given against us. Is it karma? You could probably say so indeed. But you can see right now in the top right-hand corner of your screen, you can actually see when we are next live. The next live stream is on the 17th of October in just 3 days' time. It's an early stream. We'll be live from 12:15 with a Derby Day special. That's right, me and Kieran L. We're going to be live from 12:15 covering the Merseyside derby. That is Everton, of course, coming up against Liverpool. 2 sides in very good form indeed. Of course, Liverpool have got to bounce back from that 7-2 loss against Villa before the international break. As for Everton, they are at the top of the league right now, I believe, flying in the Premier League under Carlo Ancelotti. And then the other game, of course, the Old Firm derby. That's the game I'm going to be watching as Rangers take on Celtic. Both teams doing very well at the start of the Scottish Premiership season. The question is, who is going to take the bragging rights in the first Old Firm derby of the season? You'll have to find out, of course. That's on the 17th of October. We'll be live from 12:15. Kick-off of both of those games from 12:30. And of course, for those of you that have just joined, if you're new as always, do leave a like and a subscription. It'd be greatly appreciated, of course. And here's a look at what's to come on the channel over the next couple of days. So as I said before, Derby on the 17th of October from 12:15. You do not want to miss out on that. It's going to be fantastic indeed. The Champions League is back on the 20th of October. You can join us for our goals show. Groups E to H on 7:30 on the 20th of October. And then groups A to D on the 21st of October at 7:30. Every game, every goal, every moment covered live. On the 22nd of October, our picked featured game of the week from the Europa League is Celtic taking on AC Milan. That's from 7:45. And then on the 24th of October, what a game of football. You want to join us for this. Barcelona versus Real Madrid. El Clasico live, our first Liga game of the season. What a game of football that is going to be, of course. Barcelona have got a lot of work to do from last season's La Liga performance. And as for Real Madrid, well, who knows what's going to happen in that game, because it's going to be a very open El Clasico indeed. And that is the 24th of October. That is just in 10 days' time, 2:45. We go live, 3 o'clock kickoff for that game. That is on Saturday. Really looking forward to that, of course. To see what happens in El Clasico. So there's a look at some of the stuff still to come on the channel over the next kind of 2 weeks. Some great content on there. As we said before, the Champions League is coming back very soon, so we'll have our goals show, which will have the whole Sports Corner team involved. But you don't want to miss out on some of the other content as well. It's not just football we do on this channel. We have other sporting content. We have an NFL podcast. We have tier lists, which both should be coming back fairly soon. We have plenty, of course, football content in terms of our watch-alongs. And then we also have F1 watch-alongs with Rowan. So do subscribe to the channel, because it isn't always about football. But, of course, a large portion of the channel is based on the football stuff right now over this busy period in the sporting calendar. But if you have just joined us, we are at half-time of our 2 main fixtures tonight. England 1-0 down to Denmark and down to 10 men. Harry Maguire being sent off after half an hour in that game. And then the other result, France currently 1-0 up against Croatia. Antoine Griezmann with an early goal in that game means that they have got a lot of work to do, Croatia, although they have had a few chances of their own. It's just a case of finding out whether they'll be able to continue and eventually grind on and get a victory. Or a point, of course, because a point would be fairly decent for them. It's a tough group. They're alongside Portugal and Sweden. And I mean, looking at the table right now, if France do win, then it really is a case of Croatia won't have an opportunity to get into the to win the group. Of course, Portugal on 10 points, France on 10 points. It would be impossible for Croatia. They have to go out there and win it tonight. But I guess at this stage of the Nations League, I don't really think many people care about it, to be honest. It's just kind of a little bit more competitive fixtures. I mean, what do you guys think of the Nations League? Because, of course, last season, I thought it was very good. I enjoyed it, to be honest. But with the way that the footballing calendars work this season, do you think it's the right decision to have the Nations League on? Or do you think it should have been postponed, I guess, for another year? Because, of course, if you do win your Nations League group, you do then go into the knockout stages of the Nations League, the Final Four, as it's called. And then, of course, you've got at least another 1 game to play. If not, you might have 2 if you make the final. But what do you think about it? Do tell me in the chat. And if you've got any other questions, do put them in the chat. It doesn't have to be about the Nations League. It could be about absolutely anything in terms of football-related stuff. So do send your comments in the chat below. It'd be lovely to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions while we continue on our watch-along. But you can see on the bottom of your screen right now the live scores. Still obviously waiting for the beginning of the second half, and we should be underway very shortly with the 2 fixtures. But looking at the chat, Bernardo's put, Nations League is good, I like it, but right now it should be dismissed. And I think it's a talking point, because it was a very good competition last season. I think people underappreciate it. I think you've only got to look back, and the best game for me was the England-Spain game, where we kind of came and got the comeback. We were 2-0 down and made it to 3-2, and it was an incredible result indeed. But I think people underappreciate the tournament. I guess maybe right now wasn't the best time to kind of run the whole thing, just because of the whole awkwardness of having so many fixtures kind of put together. It's such a major rush right now to get everything done and out of the way. But I don't mind it. I think there's been some good games from it. But of course, right now these games, I think players are trying to not necessarily use up all their stamina. Do you know what I mean? They're just playing a little bit less hectic as they were last season. They're not as competitive as the previous Nation League campaign, but you expect that because pretty much right now for the majority of these big professional players, you're playing kind of every 3 or 4 days. So it is a very crazy calendar. But the Croatia-France game looks like it's going to be getting underway very shortly, and the England players are back out onto the pitch. And it looks like Jadon Sancho is going to be coming on here. They've just gone to an advert break on Sky, and it looks like he was talking to Jadon Sancho there about a few tactical decisions. So I assume we will see the Borussia Dortmund forward come on with an extra burst of pace on the counter-attack, you would assume. So we'll have to find out what happens in a moment. And Sasha's put wide red card to Bosnia. Yeah, not good for Bosnia at all. 2-0 down, and Ahmed Hozic with the red card in that one, 14 minutes in. So there's a lot of work to be done, but a couple of the games are back underway. The England game will be underway in just a moment's time. Once again, quick look at the scores on the bottom of your screen. Belgium currently 2-1 up in their fixture against Iceland, which means they go top of our Nations League group. Scotland 1-0, courtesy of an early goal from Ryan Fraser. And then you can see the other results there. Norway 0, Northern Ireland 0. Italy 1, Netherlands 1. That's not been a bad game so far. And then, as we said before, Poland 2-0 up against Bosnia. But it looks like the Croatia game is going to get underway in a moment. And Mateo Kovacic looks like he's coming onto the pitch. So a slight tweak of the system there for the Croatians as they look to try and get a win. Remember, they have to win this game if they want to potentially go through, of course. And there's been a substitution as well here in the Danish game. Robert Skov has gone off. Mihail, who was linked to a move to Marseille, he has come on. Ghent fullback. And we're back underway in the England-Denmark game. And we'll have to find out what happens here because England are under the cosh. And they've got a lot of work to do if they want to get back into it because they are, of course, down to 10 men. And, well, it's going to take an absolute miracle, I think, here to get something in this match. The timer should have started on the screen. Give me 2 seconds. Take a quick sip because it does get very tiring talking so much. There we go. We've had a drink now. We're back underway once again. So, as I said before, for anybody that is just joining us and you're new to the stream, once again, try not to spoil anything. I will be a little bit further behind in both fixtures tonight. So I do apologise if I'm a little late. So try not to spoil anything if you can. But so far, we are 1-0 down, England, against Denmark. There is so much work to do for the boys in blue. As for the Croatia-France game, the Croatia players are out on the pitch, and France just taking a little bit extra time to come out. They're just slowly coming out now. Griezmann being one of the first players to appear. So we'll kind of focus on this England-Denmark game for a little bit. Let's change the scoreboard. There we go. And Denmark just coming forward here. It's actually the substitute Mihail who has an opportunity to drive up the pitch. And, well, for Denmark, you kind of expect them to come out a little bit more attacking, I guess. And if they can get another goal or two in this game, it's going to become a very embarrassing result for England. I mean, there was a lot of people saying a few days ago when we beat Belgium that we beat, the world number one and that it's a good result, when in actual fact, to be quite frankly honest with you, it was a very scuffed result that we got against Belgium. And tonight is a very big test indeed. Denmark on the day, they're a very good side, and of course we're really up against it right now because we've somehow got to get a goal back while being down to 10 men. But Eriksen's gone for a long-range effort here, and once again he's about 30 yards out from goal. He hits it and the ball is always rising. And I've got to say that his long-range efforts tonight have been very, very poor indeed, but he's been given the space to have the shots, and I guess with a player like Eriksen, why not take them when the opportunity arises? Because England's backline tonight not looking very good at all, very, very shaky at the back indeed. And Manela's put, I want to see Roy Keane's take on Maguire United in recent times. It's very annoying they haven't had him on. Hopefully they get him on for Monday Night Football at some point again, because I know he was on quite recently, but it would be nice to see Roy Keane talk about all the stuff that's going on. He is a character, isn't he, within himself? But as I said, we are underway. with the second halves across the board in all of the games, and we have had a very early goal from one of the sides that we're keeping a close eye on tonight, and the goal has gone to Serbia. We talked about him being 1-0 up a little bit ago. Sergei Milinkovic-Savic with the goal from Lazio. They're now 2-0 to the good, and it is Alexander Mitrovic 4 minutes into the second half. There was a penalty which was given away by Turkey. They've taken advantage of that, and they're now 2-0 to the good. So it looks like Serbia are going to continue on their winning trend with another 2-0 win, which is a very good result for them indeed, because they've been flying in the last couple of weeks. Of course, made it through to the Euro 2020 playoff final, which will be interesting to see if they do get through to the Euros or not. But they've got a great team on paper, and it looks like they're going to continue that winning streak. Of course, they've got the likes of Mitrovic, Milinkovic-Savic, Lejajic, to name a couple of the players. Rajkovic in goal. It's an endless streak of pretty decent players, but we've got a chance here for Croatia, who come forward. Ivan Perisic driving into the box, takes on a shot first time, and it's an awkward angle for the Inter Milan forward, but he takes it on anyway, and it's not really a great opportunity. It looks more of a cross than a shot. Luis dives, but nothing comes of it, and it's another chance wasted there from Croatia as they desperately try and get back into that match. Of course, 1-0 down, they have to get something in that game if they want to go through to the next stages, or potentially at least go through to the next stages of the Nations League. But yeah, very interesting first couple of minutes here between England and Denmark. And when I mean interesting, the advertisement boards are just interesting to have a look at what's on there, because the actual standard of the match has been pretty boring so far. And I said earlier about Jadon Sancho potentially coming on. He hasn't come on yet. I mean, at half-time, we did see, just after, before the second half kicked off actually, Gareth Southgate talking tactics with Jadon Sancho, and it looked like it was going to come on quite early on into the second half. Of course, you've got the 5 substitutions you can make throughout the fixture, but he hasn't come on yet, and I would assume that if the next 10 or 15 minutes doesn't go Gareth Southgate's way, then we might see 1 or 2 of those changes come on as England try and get their way back into this match. Of course, there's so much work to do for England with being down to 10 men, so whether they can do it or not, I don't know. But it's a little bit quiet right now in the England-Denmark game, so let's have a quick focus on Croatia and France. So let's put Croatia versus France up on the screen there, and just take a little bit of time to kind of watch this game, because we've not really had much of an opportunity to sit there and really dissect this match tonight. I think it's more down to the fact that it hasn't really been an interesting game at all. Of course, France being the team that you would expect to want to get a good result in this game, and so far, of course, they've got that 1-0 lead, so that's all that will matter to them. But they're coming forward on the ball now, and you just look at the plethora of players that France has got, and it's such an incredible team of talented players, and even the players that haven't made the squad that are probably sat at home wishing they were in the French team is unbelievable. The likes of Lacazette, Ben Yedder's not even starting tonight. Giroud, of course, the elite French footballer who could potentially get France's all-time top scorer record. And even the midfielders, Ndombele and Rabiot, who's just come onto the pitch not too long ago. They've got so many good players in pretty much every position. It's very scary, the squad depth that France has, because you can even look at other strikers like potentially Odsonne Edouard, who plays in the under-21s setup, and they've got so many good players. It's bloody scary to see how France will do over time. But they're coming forward here. Bit of fancy footwork from Nzonzi, who lays it off to Griezmann, who's just at the edge of the box. Lays it off towards the path of it looked like a potential opportunity for Tolisso to come forward, but he kind of clamours and doesn't really know what to do in terms of whether he passes the ball or not. But I think the referee's given a corner either way, and there's a few players protesting the decision from the referee, but the referee doesn't acknowledge any of those choices, and it looks like they have got a corner. But we'll go back to England-Denmark for now. Denmark coming forward here. Potential opportunity. It's Pione Sisto trying to loft the ball towards Martin Braithwaite. Good clearance away from Kyle Walker. And it does eventually bobble all the way back to Denmark and to their defence. Can they maybe make something of a long ball opportunity. It doesn't guide to anyone, actually. It's a really poor ball. Tries to get it towards Pionicister, not guided very well towards him. And Jordan Pickford is going to get a goal kick. And this first 10 minutes has been the standard of that previous game we played against Denmark. It has been very, very boring. And not really much going on at all here, which is a real shame. But we have had another goal elsewhere. And Sasha, if I was you, I would look away. Because Poland are now 3-0 up in their fixture against Bosnia. We said earlier, Bosnia down to 10 men in their match after 15 minutes. It took Poland a little bit of time to get that first goal, but they've got it now and they're flying. And goal number 3 has indeed, of course, gone to Robert Lewandowski. That's his second goal of the day in the 52nd minute. So 3-0 up now, Poland, looking like they're flying. And well, I think we could see potentially a few more goals going in that fixture. Of course, there's still so much time left of the match. We'll have to find out what happens there. We could maybe see 5, 6 or 7, depending on what happens in these first couple of minutes in the second half. But we've got long-range effort on here for England. Marcus Rashford just trying to test the goalkeeper from about 35 yards out. It's not a convincing effort at all, and it goes wide of the post, and Schmeichel doesn't even have to dive for it. But Jadon Sancho just been told to warm up a little bit more, and Calvert-Lewin as well is another player that's been told to go and warm up, so we could see maybe Harry Kane come off at some point. Of course, Kane has been in a bit of a dispute with the Spurs side and the England side, of course, in terms of how much game time he gets and things like that, so maybe England's number 9 Calvert-Lewin could come on. Could he score an equaliser? Could he score a winner? I think KL would be very happy if he got either one, but we'll have to find out, of course, as the game continues on. But let's hope that Denmark don't get a goal here, because they're coming forward now. It's Thomas Delaney about 40 yards out from goal. He's going to lay it into the path of, I think it looks like Daniel Vass. Bombing forward. It's a lovely pass, but it's a poor touch there. It was actually Daniel Vass who got the touch, a really poor touch, and eventually it does come back to England. Kyle Walker just being forced towards the right-hand side corner flag. He's somehow, Daniel Vass has kept the ball in play. I don't know how he's done it. And now there might be a chance here, because Martin Braithwaite's coming forward, tries to lay it off towards Delaney. Oh, and he just can't get a touch on the ball, and that would have been such a good goal if Delaney could have got a touch to it. But Conor Cody clears the ball, and Denmark have a corner. And the home side here a little bit lucky to not go 2-0 down. Really, really good chance there. Somehow Martin Braithwaite just dancing his way through the England defence. And Denmark have a corner. It's going to be taken short. Laid off to Daniel Vass. Now it's going to go back to Christian Eriksen, who took the free kick. And it doesn't look like it's going to come to anything here. The ball is eventually played back to the defenders. And it's a little bit disappointing now that the corner hasn't come to anything. Although now it's going to go left and into the box towards Eriksen, who made a driving run forward. Just can't get the ball to him. It was a decent ball from Delaney. Calvin Phillips just at the edge of his box can get a slight touch on the ball, and he's able to hoof it towards Kane, who is trying to start a counter-attack here, but he's got nobody coming towards him, and he's having to chip it all the way back to his defence. And very, very poor indeed from England right now. As I said, you can't rush about when you're down to 10 men, but you've got to find some way to get back into the match. And I think if it stays 1-0 and England do lose this game, though, I think there'll be a few England fans not calling for his head, but questioning Gareth Southgate. I know we have been 19 games technically unbeaten, but not the most convincing results in the world, you have to agree, if you are an England fan. And I guess maybe some of you won't agree. Maybe some of you will disagree with that and say that, in fact, he's doing a very good job indeed. And of course, it's each to their own. Everybody has a very different opinion. But I think you probably look at Gareth Southgate over the last couple of weeks, and we haven't had convincing games at all. We said it in the previous watch-along. We played Iceland, and we were very, very lucky to not come out with a 1-1 draw. The 0-0 draw against Denmark was really, really poor indeed, as Croatia come forward in their game. Modric trying to lay a ball off to Petkovic. He's gone down in the box calling for a penalty, but the ref says no, and Modric eventually does get up. But the 0-0 draw we had against Denmark was a very disappointing one. The Belgium game wasn't a convincing result, to be honest. It was two interesting goals. One from a very interesting, dubious penalty, and another one with a deflection that guided the ball into the back of the net. And then, of course, right now, with the Denmark game, we're down to 10 men, which, of course, you can't really say is... there could be, much could be done from Gareth Southgate, but there will be people, of course, calling for his head potentially. But they're just showing back here the foul that was given from Walker on Delaney. It's a very, very harsh foul indeed. In fact, they kind of just slowed it down a little bit to be able to see the foul. And I think it's more the fact that Delaney's just gone down because he's gone to try and kick the ball, and there's a very slight connection from Kyle Walker. And it just goes down, and the referee, of course, is more likely to give it as a penalty. And of course, they don't have VAR actually in these games, as far as I'm aware. So, of course, he couldn't check it with a monitor to see whether it was a penalty or not. Once he's given the penalty, that's it. The penalty's been given. But a little bit frustrating there that it was given. But either way, I think it wouldn't have mattered anyway, because we were down to 10 men in a couple of minutes before that. So I think Denmark would have probably gone on and scored a goal anyway. But it's just a little bit frustrating, and I think we will see a change soon, because we're about to head towards the 60th minute. Still 1-0 down. Not really much has changed from the second half. And I would assume soon there's going to be a little bit extra firepower up top to see if England can hit on the break. Because, I mean, we haven't really seen much of Mount tonight. We've not really seen much of Rashford. And we haven't seen much of Kane, to be honest. The front three being very, very quiet indeed. Probably seen more of Kane than we have of Rashford and Mount. But we have had a goal elsewhere. Sorry for the itchy nose. Give me 2 seconds. There we go. Sorted that. Serbia game. Game on there, because Turkey have got a goal back. 2-1. Hakan Çalhanoğlu, 56 minutes on the clock, has got his side back into the game again. So a couple of minutes after conceding the penalty, well, he didn't concede it, sorry. Of course, Turkey conceded it, but not necessarily Hakan Çalhanoğlu. But he's got his side back into the game. 2-1. And that becomes a very interesting match, because there is a lot of time left in that. And we'll have to find out, of course, whether Turkey can get an ultimate comeback and make it 2-2 or 3-2. But Hakan Çalhanoğlu, probably a long-range effort or a free kick from the Turkish magician at AC Milan. And it's 2-1 to still to Serbia, of course. Turkey have got 1 foot back in that match. Chris has put England will never be successful unless Carlisle manager Chris Speech is the manager. I'm starting to notice a pattern here, Chris. I don't know why, but I feel like Carlisle keeps getting mentioned. But Vanelda's put Eddie Howe for England, which is a very fair shout. I think there'd probably be a lot of people who would put him up there potentially for the role, and I think he'd probably be Bucky's favourite as well to get the job. I think he's always constantly been linked with the role for years now. So if it was to come up, I think he'd be the favourite to get it. But it all depends. I think Southgate won't get sacked or anything. Let's be real. After tonight's result, he won't get sacked. And if he does, then, well, do you know what? Maybe I'm horribly wrong. But it'd be interesting to see what happens in a few months, whether it's a case of you keep Southgate till the Euros. If you do bad, wave him off. If he does all right, then we'll have to see. Your mic's cutting out. Is it still cutting out? You'll have to tell me in the chat, Ronaldo, and I'll reset the mic up if not. And Talal's put, hi, welcome Talal. How are you? Good, buddy. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're well, pal. Nice to see a few new faces in the stream as always. And of course, if you are new, do leave a like and subscription. It is very greatly appreciated indeed. But hopefully the mic isn't lagging out, because the last time this happened, I had to completely reboot Streamlabs. We've got a long-range effort here from Reece James, just from 25 yards out. It's a curling effort, but it goes straight into the hands of Schmeichel. And that's probably the first big chance we've had of the second half. And to be honest, I wouldn't really call it a big chance either. It's just a small curling effort that kind of goes straight into the hands of Schmeichel. And he's had a very easy night so far, Schmeichel. Not had much to do at all in this game. He's probably sat back, could have made a cup of tea, chilled out a little bit. And he's not really had to make any big saves at all in the match. And, of course, once again, welcome, Tala, for joining us. But do tell me in the chat if it is still cutting out. We've been cutting my volume sliders all over the place. That's all right, then. At least it's not mine cutting out, because I have had that issue before. And if it had done that, then it'd be an absolute nightmare to start the stream up again. But we are just under half an hour away from the 90th minute. Denmark still 1-0 up against England. It has been a pretty boring second half of football here. England have got to try and do something if they want to get back into this game, but it kind of feels like we're 1-0 up. We're not really going for it. No changes yet by Gareth Southgate. And, well, Denmark, as I said, they don't have to rush forward, but they're having a couple of small opportunities to double their lead and end this game once and for all. But, yeah, I assume we've got to see some changes for England soon because, well, I mean, I don't know what you're doing right now. It's very, very hard when you're down to 10 men to change something up without leaving space open in some position. But 60 minutes in the game, Croatia 1-0 down to France. That one's been a fairly quiet game, to be honest. I mean, Croatia have had a couple of chances in the second half, but nothing too major. Chris has asked, have you been watching the darts recently? I have indeed. I watched the Boyle Sports World Grand Prix. I mean, I felt... do you know what? I know this is kind of a bit of darting talk for a little bit here while the games have gone quiet, but I do have to admit, Gerwyn Price's performance was exceptional. But Dirk van Dijvenbode did so well to make the final, and it was a very interesting final because I thought it was going to end 5-0 with how it started, but it did seem to kick on late on, and Dijvenbode started to get back into the game, and I thought, there might be a chance here for it to go 4-3 to still to Gezi Price, but of course Dijvenbode would have still been in the game, but he put up a very good performance and he should be proud of himself. But I'm looking forward to a few more of the competitions coming up. Now Thursday night is the Premier League playoffs, which I'm looking forward to, buzzing for it. But we've got a corner here for England. 64 minutes on the clock. We haven't had a set piece in a while, and this has to be used to their advantage. We've got plenty of players who can get their head onto this. Connor Cody looks like he's standing at the edge of the box, and he's going to make a run into the box. The corner's taken. Ball's lofted in. Kane's there. Great save from Schmeichel. Oh, well, that is absolutely fantastic. He's not had much to do all night long, Kasper Schmeichel. And the first real big opportunity of the day, he makes a pivotal save. And as I said before, the corner is lofted in. Harry Kane gets the first initial touch. It then comes down to Mason Mount, who gets his head onto it. You've got to score. I mean, it's any other striker or any other forward in that position would direct it more to the right. It is a little bit central, but Schmeichel still has to make the save, and don't take the credit away from Schmeichel. It's a great save, and for a man who's had nothing to do for 65 minutes, he makes an absolutely wonderful save and keeps his Danish side 1-0 to the good. Really, really good reactionary save there from the Leicester City goalkeeper. And maybe that might be the thing that sparks England to come forward a little bit more, because we've not had many chances in this game at all in terms of good opportunities. But that was a very good chance indeed. We have had another goal elsewhere in one of the games we're keeping an eye out on tonight. And Norway have taken a lead against Northern Ireland. They're 1-0 up in their match. I'm going to take a wild guess here. It's probably Erling Haaland who scored. The answer to that is, it turns out, that the goal scorer is actually Stuart Dallas. Stuart Dallas' own goal. So very unfortunate there for Northern Ireland, who, to be honest, look like they've been giving Norway a little bit of a game. Not necessarily in terms of possession. And we've had a goal. Oh, that is a fantastic finish. Nikola Vlasic with a curler for Croatia. It's 1-1 in that game, and well, I took my eyes off for a second there. Too busy looking at the other results going on. Talking a second about that, but we have got a goal, and Croatia are back in this match, 1-1, and it's a lovely, lovely curling effort from Nikola Vlasic. And just going to have a look at it here to see 2 goals in 4 matches for the former Everton man, of course, doing very well in Russia at CSK Moscow. But let's have a look at the goal here and see what happened, because that is a spectacular finish from the boys in white. So it's not really convincing ball into the box that Modric somehow gets a hold of. Lays it off to the right-hand side into Budimir, who sees Nikola Vlasic in open space. And oh, it's such a lovely finish from Nikola Vlasic. Outside of the foot, into the bottom left-hand corner. There's absolutely no chance in that situation that Hugo Lloris is going to be able to save it. And it's such a lovely finish from a really good player on his day, Nikola Vlasic. And just like that, we might have a game on our hands now between Croatia and France, because They've been knocking on the door a little bit in this second half, Croatia, in the game. But they've got a goal back. It's 1-1, and we could potentially have another opportunity coming. But just having a look here right now, something has gone on in the England game. A foul from Calvin Phillips, and a bit of a talking to there, actually, from the referee to Gareth Southgate. I don't know if that's in terms of just telling him to calm down a little bit, but a few tackles going in, and Benal putting Danny Vas nearly getting a speedy header in there. But lovely finish for Croatia, and they're right back in this game. Interested to see what happens there, to see whether they can actually maybe go on and win it. But 2-1 to the good, and lovely game of football indeed. We've had another goal elsewhere. Israel back in their match, 2-1. Erin Zahavi in the 68th minute with a goal. They've had plenty of opportunities in that match, but they still need another goal in that game. 2-1 down with about 20 minutes to go. And then as you can see across the board, everything is still the same in terms of goals. Nothing's changed in the other matches. So still plenty of time. That's 20 minutes across the board in all of the games, apart from Croatia versus France. That's got 25 minutes left of the match, of course. That game did kick off a little bit later than the rest. We're just looking at the chat right now. Chris saying, how did Dave Chisnell not reach the final? Got to agree with you. What a game that was, though. Absolutely breathtaking match. Proper classic game that was. And then Chris putting on Peter Wright will win playoffs tomorrow. I reckon him and Price taking over darts. Wright v Anderson final tomorrow. Predicted tomorrow. Yeah, I'd like to see Anderson win it, but with the way that Anderson has been playing recently, I think Peter Wright might go on and win it. But you can't count out Glenn Durrant, because Glenn Durrant's been on some good form. And I guess you can't count out Aspinall as well, because Aspinall on his day can do very good. But I think it will be a Wright Anderson final tomorrow, and Wright will win. I do agree with you on that one. But now the point, come on Croatia, Hajman Hrvatska, and of course they are 1-1 in that game, and looking like they could go on and maybe try and get a winner here. Really putting France under a lot of pressure right now. These last kind of 5 or 10 minutes, they've dominated the game, and if they can get a second goal in this, it'll really put their group well and truly a little bit more wide open in comparison to what it was not too long ago with France taking the lead. But England are making some changes. 20 minutes left on the clock here. England still 1-0 down against Denmark, and Calvert-Lewin and Jadon Sancho, the two players that were vigorously warming up, are set to come onto the pitch. So can either of those two go on and score an equaliser or a winner? Of course, we'll find out in a moment when they do come onto the pitch. But we'll have to see here, because Denmark just taking their time, not rushing about the pitch. Of course, they've got plenty of time left of this match to see if they can hold on and take what would be a very good 3 points for them. Not really had much to do in the game at all, but they're doing very, very well indeed. But let's put, who do you think should get a call up for England, and who do they take over for? That's a very good question, actually. Like in terms of players that haven't been called up, I'm surprised, and it kind of comes back to, I think, a point somebody made earlier in the stream. I'm going to try and find the comment on who put it. I think it was actually Jamie who said it in the stream. So I'm going to find it. It was to do with the centre backs. I can't see it now, but I would like to see. I would love to have seen something like a Tarkowski or a Me get called up. But of course, with the way that Burnley have been playing right now, they're probably not going to get called up on that. But I think, to be honest, the players that people have been calling out for to get called up have probably now been called up. You know, Calvert-Lewin was kind of having questions of being called up. He's in the team. Jack Grealish, of course, getting called up. He's in the team. Players like Declan Rice and that have all been called up. Connor Cody, another one who I think absolutely deserved to be called up in terms of form for Wolves over the last couple of months. He's obviously in there now. I don't really think that there's any other players off the top of my head that necessarily deserve a call up right now, apart from maybe one or two of the centre backs. I mean, as I said, me and Tarkowski, they're solid, and even the likes of Ben White, you could have said a good chance to get called up. But I think with what we've got right now, there's probably not really much else you could do in terms of new players to bring up. But we are going to see some changes here, and Chris Welch, look away, because Henderson is coming on with 18 minutes to go, and there will be Aston Villa fans out there thinking, where the hell is Jack Grealish, because he's still not being called on, and it would be very Southgate here to leave it till the last 5 minutes of the match and then bring on Jack Grealish with a couple of minutes left. But it looks like Denmark are going a little bit more defensive here. Braithwaite coming off for Yannick Vestergaard. So they're bringing another centre-back into the fold, taking a forward off. Are they looking here to hold on to their 1-0 win? Of course, we'll find out with the last 17 minutes left. And yeah, a little bit more defensive from Denmark. They are going to expect a couple more flurries of opportunities from England. Of course, they've still got a couple of good players on the pitch, but there might be a chance here for England to go 2-0 down because Eriksson is just at the edge of the box. He's going to lay off for Pione Sisto. Oh, well, I tell you what, it really should be 2-0 to Denmark. And Pione Sisto, it's a 3-on-2 opportunity. Eriksson, Sisto, the two main players forward. It's a mistake in the middle of the pitch. I think it's actually looks like Calvin Phillips who gives the ball away. Eriksson lays the ball off for Sisto. I don't know whether he tries to take the shot on there or if he wants to lay it off to Josef Poulsen, but it's so unfortunate for Sisto. And had he have just gone for the shot a little bit more than the pass, it would have been 2-0 down. But I think Pione Sisto there trying to not be greedy and lay the ball off could have cost his side there a potential winning goal. But he's going to have a corner either way, so maybe they can make the most of this instead. Eriksson lost the ball into the box. It's a very high ball indeed. There is a slight touch on the ball from, it looked like Vestergaard. It then bobbled towards Daniel Vass, and his header goes straight into the hands of Jordan Pickford, who, I've got to say, hasn't really had a bad game, to be honest. Not much he could have really done in terms of the goal that went in from the penalty spot. It was just a very good penalty indeed. But he's done fairly alright tonight. He's not really had any major saves to make. They've come forward at times, Denmark, but they've not had many massive chances at all. But we have had a goal in one of the other games. It is now 3-0 to... just have a look there. It's now 3-0. Sorry, 2-2. Wrong score. 2-2 to Israel. Aaron Zahavi has scored 2 goals in 10 minutes and got Israel back into the game. It's an Aaron Zahavi party right now, if you're an Israeli fan, because there's 10 minutes left. That game's at 2-2, and I tell you what, with the way that game's looking, they could be on for a potential winner there, Israel, dominating stats-wise. So 2-2, they were 2-0 down to Slovakia. Very good result indeed for Israel. As I said, 10 minutes left there, could still get a winner. But we are going to see a change here for England. Declan Rice coming off the pitch for Jordan Henderson, so a little bit more of stability in there for England with a few more minutes to go. And we've had another goal elsewhere. Well. Serbia are now 2-2. Turkey have produced a very good comeback indeed. They were 2-0 down, Turkey, at the 50th minute mark. It's now 2-2. Fenerbahce midfielder Ozan Tufan, with the goal in that game, means that it's all square there. They're dominating stats-wise, Turkey. Can they try and get a winner with 12 minutes to go? But another comeback, 2-2. What a scoreline that one is. Great game there going on right now. We've had another goal elsewhere. Portugal game, now 3-0 to Portugal. If you're a Liverpool fan, certainly look at this one because Diogo Jota has got 2 goals now for Portugal in that game. It's a very good performance from him tonight. Doing very, very well indeed. And then there's some other goals across the board. Romania 1-0 down to Austria. Alessandro Schoff, the Austrian midfielder from Schalke, has just scored in that game. So Austria leading that match. But apart from that right now, we've got a couple more minutes left of these games. We've got about 10 minutes left. 13 minutes the England game. And England have a free kick in a very good position. Reece James and Jordan Henderson, who's just come onto the pitch, the two main players stood over it. You'd expect this to be hit potentially by Reece James. He's got a good free kick on him. Can he put it into the back of the net and make the last 15 minutes interesting? Chris has put Southgate doing it on purpose, but now they're saying Southgate racing for a sacking, ring up Neil Warnock, bring that man in for a conference. We'd love it if Neil Warnock became the England manager. Rotherham legend. God bless his soul. And Chris saying it's so strange Michael Van Goen's been awful this year. Something clearly wrong with him. First time in his career he's not reached the Premier League playoffs. I'll talk about that in a moment because England do have that free kick and it's going to be taken by either Reece James or Henderson. Reece James is going to take it. Oh, it's a curling one. And good chance from Reece James. It's a powerful free kick that Schmeichel's just able to tip over his bar. Really good free kick in terms of the power. Maybe not in terms of the dip on the ball, and I think it would have actually gone over anyway. But a good chance that leads to an England corner, which Calvin Phillips is going to take here. And England, they've got to make the most of the set pieces. The ball's lofted in by Calvin Phillips. Gets it towards Kane. There's a slight entanglement in the box. There are calls for a corner, I think, from Harry Kane, but the ref plays on. And, of course, that decision won't be checked up upon. There is no VAR tonight. But England are coming forward anyway. Harry Kane, at the edge of the box, still going. Tries to take the shot on, but slips as he takes it. And it's a scuffed effort that eventually leads to Denmark getting the ball back and a free kick, which is given for a foul, I think, from Jordan Henderson there. So a waste of an opportunity. But just having a look right now, I think there were a few calls for handball. It looked like they were calling for a handball from Mihail there, and it shouldn't be given as a handball at all. He doesn't even get a touch on his hand. I don't know why. I think a foul as well, actually, on Connor Cody is another reason, which I think it would have been very harsh if that was given. But, of course, the penalty that was given against England was quite a dubious one. But, yeah, I think that's the right decision there from the referee to not give a penalty. Although it would have kind of made things a little bit fair if he'd given a dubious decision for us. But come back to your point, Chris. I think it's down to his darts, because he's changed his darts up, Michael van Gerwen, from the darts he tends to use. And I think that's a major factor. But as you said, it's weird, but I guess some of the biggest darts players have gone through patches before. I mean, you've only got to look at Phil Taylor back in his day. He kind of went, I think, through a year where he did pretty poor, and then got back to his very best again, and then people just thought that he was never going to play to the high standard anymore, and he came back and did very well indeed. But I guess it'd be interesting to see how Michael van Gerwen copes, because he's still world number one. And he'll be world number one for such a long time unless he cocks up majorly over the next couple of months and that. But, I mean, right now, of course, he's not in good form at all. It'll be interesting to see when that bad patch of form ends, because right now, I guess, it's very tough for him in terms of not winning competitions and not necessarily going trophyless, but not getting those big major trophies that he'd like to win. And the Bananas Put unrelated, West Brom have agreed 15 million fee for Colin Grant, which is pretty good to see. Of course, big player at Huddersfield. He's going to leave now, and that's a great signing for West Brom. A good player on his day, and another forward, which I guess if they want to stay in the Premier League, they're going to need as much attacking prowess as possible up top to link up the likes of Callum Robinson and that. But Denmark coming forward here, Yusuf Poulsen at the edge of the box, takes the shot on first time, and it goes straight into the hands of Jordan Pickford, and France have taken the lead in their game against Croatia. Who else but Kylian Mbappe? Well, we spoke earlier about Mbappe missing a sitter, a really good opportunity in the first half that he should have scored and should have made it 2-0 at that point. But looking at the opportunity now, it's a long ball which is guided towards Digne, and well, it's a great finish. It's a lovely long ball. I think he's actually from Ferland Mendy. And that puts the ball into the box, so to the left-hand side. Digne guides the ball towards Mbappe, and it pretty much is just a very typical sweaty FIFA goal. I think that's the best way to describe it. Just inside of the box, I'd say about 5 yards out. It's a simple finish. It's a low driven effort into the bottom, I think right-hand side of the post. Just like that, France are 2-1 up in their game. And it looks pretty much that they're going to go on and get the 3 points that they need. Of course, remember tonight that if Croatia do lose their game, they will not be able to get out of the Nations League into that final four, because France and Portugal will have run away with it in terms of the points. So they will stay in the Nations League, League A, Group 3, I think they're in, and not move. Chris's spot, I personally think and agree with you, it's the darts. He has set with them for me. I think Van Gogh will be back. Remember Taylor. Exactly. Taylor had the same problem at one point in his career, but Croatia are coming forward here. It might be 2-2 very quickly. Ball lofted into the box, slight deflection. Really good chance there for Croatia to equalise, and it's an interesting 10 minutes left, because that feels like there could be 1 or 2 more opportunities before the whistle. does blow in that game. We have had a goal elsewhere. Wales have finally broke the deadlock against Bulgaria. Johnny Williams with the goal in that game. That's a name that you don't hear often anymore. He's made it 1-0. Of course, Bulgaria haven't really done much all night, but the Welsh, Wales, you could say, have done a very good job there to come out and grind out what could be a 1-0 win tonight. Of course, there'll be a lot of Welsh fans who'll be very delighted with that indeed. And then, of course, Sasha saying Scotland best in Britain, Croatia no surrender. And I think this last 10 minutes you probably expect Croatia to go a little bit further forward, try and push to get that equalising goal and hopefully nick a point in their game. But if you're new as always, thank you very much for joining us on the Sports Corner. We do plenty of football watch-alongs and sporting content, so if you are new to the stream as always, do leave a like and a subscription. It's very, very greatly appreciated for all of you that do join, and hopefully you have enjoyed the watch-alongs so far, because as you'll be able to see on the top of your screen right now, the next watch-along that we've got coming up, it will be me and Kieran L live for Derby Day. It is a massive day on the 17th of October. 12:15 we'll be live as Everton take on Liverpool in the Merseyside Derby, which is the game that Kieran L will be covering. And then I'll be covering the Old Firm Derby between Rangers and Celtic, both games at 12:30. So you want to keep your eyes out for that. It's going to be a fantastic stream, and hopefully two very good Derby Day games, because 17th of October is a massive day of fixtures. Could also have another stream on that day for the Milan Derby, so you'll have to wait and find out to see what happens. But we'll go through the other fixtures that we'll be covering live after these games have finished, because of course we do have a couple more minutes to go before the end of these matches. So do keep your eyes out at the end, and you can have a gander at what's to come in terms of our football watch-alongs. But of course that is the next watch-along. It's an early start, 12:15 UK time for that. But while we've been talking about those fixtures, Jordan Henderson has gone into the book. Maybe a few Liverpool fans that be hoping he gets sent off at the end of the game, so he doesn't have to play another fixture for England for a little bit of time. Of course, the next international break isn't until next month, actually, which we were supposed to have an international friendly against not Northern Ireland, New Zealand, but it got cancelled because of some of the COVID stuff going on, so we won't see that game. Apparently, they're trying to reschedule another fixture. Just don't bother. We don't want a friendly. They're boring anyway. But Denmark coming forward here. 5 minutes left on the clock. Still 1-0 up against England, and looking like they're about to cruise to a very impressive victory indeed. Yusuf Poulsen hacks down Harry Kane. The referee has no choice but to give a free kick, and it's just past the halfway line, and he is eventually going to bring out a yellow card here. He's actually given a yellow card, I think, to Calvin Phillips. I don't know why he's given a yellow card there, but we'll find out in a second. Oh, Calvin Phillips is actually being given the yellow card because he's fouled Poulsen as he's gone to get the ball, I think. Let's have a quick check here. So Poulsen fouls Harry Kane. And then it looks like... Oh, well, I mean, that is just... It's Yusuf Poulsen being a bit of a knobhead, isn't it, really? Calvin Phillips does get the ball. He does go in with a tackle on him, but he falls to the floor as if he's been shot down. And a yellow card there for Calvin Phillips. A bit harsh, but I guess he did go in for a tackle anyway when play wasn't even on, so a bit of a stupid decision from Calvin there anyway. But free kick. 3.5 minutes left on the clock here. The ball's going to be lofted in by Calvin Phillips towards the far left-hand side, and it's eventually cleared away very quickly by Pione Sisto. And England running out of time here for a winner. But now they're saying Johnny Williams in for Wales. You're absolutely spot on there. And Chris has said a Riga winner, calling it Merseyside Derby. Pickford to spill the ball, I'm calling it. It'll be an interesting game, actually, the Merseyside one, because as somebody said earlier, two not necessarily amazing goalkeepers playing could, bring us a very good game. But we have had a goal elsewhere. Game of the night by a country mile is Slovakia-Israel. Aaron Zahavi has got a hat-trick for Israel. 90th minute winner means that Zahavi might have just nicked a winner for Israel there, which is massive for their group. It puts them potentially with a chance still to finish in the top half of their group. But Aaron Zahavi with a hat-trick, unbelievable performance from the greatest striker ever known to man. Of course, PSV forward now, formerly the Chinese Super League, one of their best players that they've had in the league ever. Of course, be interested to see how he does at PSV. But back to the England game. We've got a couple more minutes left of this one. 88 minutes on the clock. Can they get a win at England? Benalda putting Viva Aaron Zahavi, which is absolutely spot on. It's fantastic to see Aaron Zahavi there getting a hat-trick and winning it for Israel. That's one of the big comebacks of the night. But we've got a free kick here for England. About 35 yards out from goal. Calvin Phillips lofts the ball into the box. It's a high ball that Schmeichel punches, and it's a very good punch indeed, because he could lead Denmark on a counter-attack here. Although I would assume in this situation they'll be quite happy to pass around the back and just waste a little bit of time. No rush and urgency from the boys in white, who of course have that 1-goal lead and the extra man advantage. Of course, 11 men versus England's 10. Harry Maguire getting sent off in that game late on. Just having a look across the board. Has there been any other goals elsewhere? There hasn't. Georgia 1-0 up. Poland still 3-0 up. Italy, Netherlands still 1-1 in their fixtures with a couple of minutes left to go. But we have hit the 89th minute here. Of course, I'll say my full-time opinions when we do hit full-time, because we have seen before in the past when England have played, things can happen late on in their matches, but I don't think it's going to happen today. But we'll have full-time thoughts and opinions in just a couple of minutes' time, as England look like they're about to lose 1-0 against Denmark, which makes that Belgium game, the Belgian victory, so pointless in terms of the complexion of the actual result itself a few days ago, how we were pretty much top of our Nations League group. We're now third based on head-to-head standings and goal difference because, of course, Denmark have beat us and are doing better than us. There has been something else going on in one of the other games. What a game this has been. Turkey and Serbia, currently 2-2. Red card for Turkey. Burak Yilmaz with a straight red. Means that Turkey down to 10 men with a couple of minutes left. But England coming forward here. Harry Kane launching a ball into the box. What a block from Simon Kjaer. Well, it's his 100th appearance for Denmark tonight. And I think he might have just saved Denmark from dropping points. That is an absolutely exceptional clearance off the line from Simon Kjaer. And we're just seeing the opportunity again here. It's Kane with the ball into the box. It looked like Connor Cody who came all the way up, and Kjaer, who just kind of automatically adjusts himself to just go to the left-hand side of the keeper where he knows that the ball is likely to be headed towards, and he's able to clear it away from his goal, or else that was going in the back of the net. Really, really good opportunity there for England. And Kjaer there, as I said, 100th appearance tonight for Denmark. What a way to celebrate it with potentially a goal line clearance. We got 3 minutes of additional time. England running out of time to get an equaliser. It has been a very poor game of football, you have to admit, from England tonight. But Denmark, you've probably got to say, deserve the result. England have been sloppy, and there will be questions asked of Gareth Southgate, but I'll talk about that more in just a moment's time, because Denmark, they're coming forward here. A ball launched towards Pione Sisto, which Connor Cody is able to read and just gets a touch of the ball. He's had a fairly decent game tonight. I mean, England haven't majorly been tested at the back, to be honest. It was only really that penalty decision that's cost us. But I think both sides have been a little bit sloppy in attack at points. But Denmark have kind of deserved something out of this game more than England have. But we've got a free kick here, just past the halfway line. And Jordan Pickford is going to come and take this. This is the last chance of the game. Everybody forward, including Walker, Mings. They're all up, and Cody. This has to be a good ball from Jordan Pickford if England want to get a point here. And it would be a very pivotal point indeed for the Nations League. Pickford hoofs the ball in, and what a fucking awful ball from Pickford. Oh, God, well, I mean, his kicking there was absolutely diabolical. He couldn't even kick it all the way up the pitch, and now he's got to desperately clear the ball away from his goal because Denmark very nearly counter-attacked. There has been a free kick given here. Harry Kane with a foul, and it looks like it's going to be game, set and match. And, well, it looks like he's apologising to his players for that kick, but, I mean, that sums up Jordan Pickford, really, doesn't it, sometimes? He's a little bit sloppy, I guess, in certain aspects with how he plays, and that kick there was just, quite frankly, atrocious for what could have been a potential small opportunity. But 15 seconds left of this game. Denmark about to nick what is a fantastic result for the team that are facing off away from home at Wembley. As for England, never really looked like they were going to ever get back into it. And there's 2 seconds left. England throwing. The referee has his whistle in his mouth. And the referee does indeed blow his whistle. And that is that. Denmark get a massive victory against England too today. Didn't really turn up to the races, to be quite frankly honest with you. Not necessarily a good performance tonight at all from either side. Denmark, just look at the stats, had 10 shots, 4 on target. England had 15 shots, 5 on target. But if anything, probably you could say that Denmark deserved a little bit more out of the game. They had a few more better chances, of course. England were down to 10 men from the half-an-hour mark, so they had plenty of time to try and get into the match and nick the result. And, of course, they got the result that they needed. 3 points. It puts them into second place in the Nations League. England now down to third based on head-to-head and goal difference. And as I said before, the result that we got against Belgium now means absolutely nothing because we dropped points against Denmark and we've dropped big points because Belgium, of course, picked up a 2-1 victory tonight, meaning that they do have a comfortable lead at the top end of the table, which is very, very disappointing for us indeed because we had to make the most tonight of these games because, you know, we have to win these games. Let's be real. They are winnable fixtures that we haven't really made the most of, and of course we are back to square one once again, and we're going to have to try and get a good result against Iceland and try and beat Belgium. We have to win against Belgium now if we want to get through to that knockout stage, and there will be questions asked of Gareth Southgate. A lot of people question his tactics and his decisions in the Belgium game and the Iceland game, and I think there will be a lot of people tonight questioning his decisions in this Denmark game. Didn't bring on the likes of Grealish, didn't make all 5 subs, I think. I think he made 3 or 4. And yeah, just not a good performance at all. But the Croatia-France game is still going on. A couple of minutes left of that one. So keep you up to date with the score of that as France have a corner, which is lofted in by Mbappe, which is cleared away. But what do you think tonight? Do tell us in the chat if you're an England fan. What do you think of the performance? It was a very disappointing result indeed, and it really puts a lot of pressure now on England to get 2 vital wins in their final 2 Nations League fixtures if they want to get through to the knockout stages. But of course tonight is a 1-0 loss and a very disappointing one at that indeed. But let's have a look at some of the other results tonight that have gone across the board. You can see on the bottom of your screen some of the biggest results of the day. Italy getting a 1-1 draw against the Netherlands. Pellegrini scoring in the 16th minute. Donny van de Beek scoring 10 minutes later with the equaliser means that that group is well and truly open. Poland top the table on 7 points, Italy in second on 6, Netherlands on 5 points. Poland picking up a 3-0 win against Bosnia. Lewandowski with 2, Linetti with 1, as Bosnia went down to 10 men after 15 minutes. Croatia and France still going. It's 2-1 to France right now, but Croatia coming forward, desperately trying to get an equaliser in that game. Looks like France are going to go on and win that match. Israel were 2-0 down. Erin Zahavi with a hat-trick to win it for Israel. That's got to be the game of the night by a country mile. Portugal, 3-0 win against Sweden. 2 goals for Diogo Jota. Liverpool fans will be very happy with that indeed. And a goal from Bernardo Silva elsewhere means that it's a very comfortable victory tonight for Portugal. Without Cristiano Ronaldo, of course. Wales picking up a 1-0 win against Bulgaria. Late winner from Johnny Williams. Good result for them. Belgium, 2-1 win against Iceland. 2 Lukaku goals. Means that that performance tonight wasn't the best of games for Belgium, looking at the stats. And it wasn't the best game for Iceland either, but the important thing is Belgium come out with a result and it puts them in a good position to qualify for the next stages of the Nations League. And then Russia, Hungary, 0-0, and Norway getting a 1-0 win against Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland might be a little bit disappointed that it didn't come away with something in that match. So there's all the fixtures for today. Croatia and France still going on with 30 seconds left to go. But let's have a quick look just before we get towards the last stages of the stream. Some of the content still to come on the channel, because of course if you are new as always, do leave a like and a subscription. Here's what's to come. So we've got the Derby Day special, as you can see on your screen right now. Everton, Liverpool and Celtic Rangers from the 17th of October at 12:15. You can join me and KL for that. 20th of October, the Champions League is back, covering every game live. Groups E to H on the 20th of October. Groups A to D on the 21st of October. every game, every goal, every moment live from the Champions League. For those of you that can't access it, game of the week from the Europa League is Celtic versus AC Milan on the 22nd of October, live from 7:45 with kickoff at 8 p.m. And then the big one, El Clasico, 24th of October, 2:45, kickoff at 3 p.m. What could possibly happen in El Clasico? I've got no idea, but some very, very good games to cover over the next few weeks. It really is going to be a busy time on the Sports Corner. So as I said, if you're new as always, do subscribe to the channel. It's very greatly appreciated. And for those of you that have enjoyed the stream, it is always nice to see new faces in the chat. It does keep things nice and busy when the watch-alongs are a little bit quiet. But the ref has blown the full-time whistle in the game between France and Croatia. And as you can see on the screen, it is a big result tonight for France. A 2-1 victory. It was a hard-fought game by the away side. Croatia did very well indeed, but just couldn't go on and get an equaliser. But overall, France come away with a victory. They should be quite happy with that because it means that they've got quite a good foothold in their Nations League group alongside Portugal. It means now that it is just a fight between those two sides for who goes through to the knockout stages of the competition. Croatia cannot progress any further, so they are out a potential chance of getting into the knockout stage of the Nations League. So unlucky there for Croatia, but they gave it their all, which is the important thing. And that means that all the fixtures are done for tonight. Every game is finished, done and out of the way. And that means for now, of course, the Nations League is officially done. There are no more Nations League fixtures until the 14th of November, which of course will be back throughout the international break, doing a couple more watch-alongs. Portugal taking off France. That'll be a good game of football. Belgium against England as well. Some really good games. Spain, Germany, lots of good matches, which of course we'll do plenty more watch-alongs for in the near future. But as for now, a big thank you to all of you guys that have joined the stream. And there's a lot of you in here tonight, a lot of likes and a lot of comments. So thanks to all of you that have joined. Once again, if you're new as always, do leave a like and subscription. It's not just football watch-alongs we do. We do loads of sporting content across the channel. NFL stuff, F1 watch-alongs, you name it. We have got it. But as for now, thank you very much for joining. Chris saying, great stream as always, pal. Sasha saying, God bless, thank you. Thanks so much, guys, for joining. Have the Gareth Bale heart on me. But we will see you again on the 17th of October for our next watch-along. Derby Day Live. You do not want to miss it. But as for now, I'll see you guys later.